Well, now to one of our most popular features. I mean, this could even rival monkey news one day. It is monkey news. It's it's news from the point of view of a monkey, a shaved monkey. It's Karl Pilkington's diary. Oh, he's written it down, yeah.
Was that the jingle, or were you just just annoyed about something? Okay. Went and did the podcast. We had a meeting after. I don't like meetings, as I can't keep focused on what people are talking about. I think Ricky has the same problem as after 25 minutes he was trying to wrestle me. I tried to do what spiders do and stayed still as if I was dead. But Ricky just stayed on top of me, not moving. A bit like when you see one of them big snakes swallowing a sheep. Ricky got bored and released me. I went home thinking, why had I left my old job for this? A homeless man asked me for some money, but I didn't feel like I should treat him, as I felt that he'd probably had a better day than me.
Oh, God.
Suzanne called me to say she'd gone for a haircut, and that she'd meet me in the supermarket. I went to the supermarket, but she wasn't there. I called her and she said she was near the fruit aisle. I went to the fruit aisle and she wasn't there. Turns out she was in a different supermarket on the other side of town, and that if I'd listened to her properly, I'd have known that. I didn't want to say that
What, you just went to the first supermarket you thought of, as opposed to listening to what supermarket? I'm in the supermarket, alright, bye.
I didn't want to say that I hadn't heard her properly, because my ears were ringing a bit from the wrestling from earlier. 25 minutes later, I met up with Suzanne. Her haircut wasn't that bad. Normally her haircuts are followed by an argument between us, as she pays over the odds for some daft haircut that's the latest style. Brilliant. I wish she'd take a picture out of a magazine or ask for a style rather than letting the hairdresser do what she wants. I said I only tell her to do this as she's got a square head, and a close-cut hairdo makes it look squarer. She said, what do you think of this cut? I said it looked alright, as I couldn't be bothered arguing about it. It's weird writing a diary. I don't know who thought of doing one of these first. The last time I did one was at school. They used to get you to do it so they could keep an eye on whatever you were up to. My diary used to say the same thing every night. Got home, went to the shop to get potatoes, bread, milk. Went home, watched telly, went to bed. I think I might have gone to Twiggy's Dance Club, just so I had something different to write. You've not told us about Twiggy's Dance Club.
It's just, you know, I sort of, when I was a kid, I sort of gave everything a bit of a go. I did boxing and that, didn't I? Gave that a go.
For about 45 minutes.
And, yeah, a mate sort of said, oh, you know, you're into your dancing, your robotics and that. You're doing your body popping, right? Body popping and that. He said, you ought to come to Twiggy's. And I went there, but I didn't go in, it was shut. They were just having like loads of toilet rolls delivered. I think like they were like using it as a storage place for toilet rolls and that. So I said, oh, I've come to have a dance. And like, oh, not tonight. Come back tomorrow. I never went back.
Brilliant. What a waste of an anecdote. Right. Brilliant.
Just to recap, you're convinced then that the teachers are asking you to keep diaries so they can keep tabs on you. And then to continue the diary, as there were more problems happening on the estate, they started to add Saturday and Sundays to the school diary to keep an eye on what we were doing at the weekend. I struggled to fill it on a Sunday, as the shop I got potatoes and bread from was shut on a Sunday. I had to go over to Shepherd's Bush to meet someone. I got the tube. There was a badly burnt man on the tube. It's amazing how the body can continue through quite a lot of bad stuff. It got me thinking about how much stuff you could remove in your body, one by one, without dying. If it was a competition, the cockroach would win, as it can live for a week without a head.
I just mean, like, say if, you know, they're running out of ideas for TV programmes and that, right? They get someone who isn't well. They go, look, do you mind if we make a programme on you? And what they do, they sit them in the bed, and they go, right, what we're going to do now is take out the heart, but replace it with a pacemaker. Right,
No. Sorry. People with pacemakers don't have their heart taken out and a pacemaker popped in.
All right, then. Some sort of machine. What I'm getting to is...
Have you been playing Operation?
What I mean is the big finale would just be a head chatting with loads of wires going into it, and it's like, look what we can do with science.
That's what the programme's called. It ends the same every week. The volunteer is just a head with loads of wires coming out
Look
of it.
what we can do with science.
And he's going,
goodbye.
Oh, I feel ill.
Got some post delivered to me today. It was... Oh, this is
This
great.
makes it in the diary.
Got some post delivered to me today. It was addressed to Mr. Pilkington.
I don't know why that
I got some post delivered to me today. It was addressed to Mr. Dilkington. I opened it, and the first sentence read, "Dear Mr. K. Dilkington, you're one of our most valuable customers." I put it in the bin. Thought I would learn some new words, as Steve always says I don't use enough different words. I read in the Fortean Times that the word "wew" means an ugly female ghost with drooping breasts.
What do you mean?
Is that how am I pronouncing that right?
Who's using that word? Who is using that word?
It was just W-E-W-E.
Let's call it a woo. An ugly female ghost with drooping breasts. I think I'm right when I say there are too many words in the world. I don't think I will ever get round to using the word woo. Watched a health programme. Wasn't watching it properly, but heard some doctors say that we only get so many heartbeats in a lifetime, so don't do too much exercise. I told Suzanne, and she said I probably hadn't heard it right. We got talking about death. Suzanne said she didn't like thinking about it. I said she might end up being a woo. I was chuffed, as I'd managed to use my new word. I went to the supermarket to get tonight's tea. On the way, I stopped and looked in the fishmongers at all the different fish they had in the window. It's like a child in one of those kids' TV shows.
I know.
Mr. Pilkington went to the fishmonger. He stopped and looked at all the fish in the window.
Hello, Mr. Dilkington, they said.
There was a newspaper clipping stuck on the glass about a two-headed fish that they've made in Taiwan. I don't see the point in doing this, as a fish having two heads ain't gonna solve the world's hunger problems, as the head is the bit you throw away. Invent a fish with two bodies, and I'd say well done.
Good point, isn't it?
Suzanne watched one of her favourite TV programmes. I've told her the telly only goes on if there's something she wants to watch. If there's nothing on, she has to talk to me about stuff I've learnt. Like Descartes. Watched a programme on him the other day. He is the one who said something like, "I know I'm about 'cause I dream." Doesn't work for everything, 'cause ants don't sleep. I don't know if I'd like that or not. You don't know if you would like it if you didn't ever
Not
sleep.
sleeping. It's just one long day. I don't know. Don't know how you'd put up with that. Do you think it'd be a good idea?
No.
Why not?
Because, as you said, it would get a bit boring. You know, your sleep is your rest, your time off. It helps you detoxify. It helps you sort of think things through on a subconscious level.
But don't you ever get it where, I mean, sometimes it's brilliant to have a sleep when you're tired, but don't you sometimes feel
that's
like...
the best time to have a sleep, when you're tired.
No, but sometimes when you go to bed and you're not that tired and you're kind of thinking, oh, I'm going to waste some hours of my life now and I'm not really in the mood for this.
Well,
sleeping.
that's just wishing you had longer on this earth doing creative things. I mean, if you didn't have to sleep, you could spend more time talking to a tortoise and going to the toffee shop.
Well, it's that time again. If you'd give us the jingle, please.
Oh, chimpanzee day. You fucking news!
Okay, now that surely cannot be fair on anyone's ears listening.
Right, ages ago, right, about the 1950s,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
there was this gangster knocking about. And do you know how, like,
Was he called Hairy Fingers?
do you know how, like, a lot of gangsters like to get into gambling and that?
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, like all his peers and that, all these mates who are like gangsters and stuff, they've all bought horses, right? Like they take racing and they make money from them and that, don't they?
Yeah.
So anyway, he
And
was
Chuckles the Seagull was no different.
and he was like, yeah, that's a good thing to get into. I might get into a bit of that, right? So he gets himself this horse, right? And there's a big race coming up. That's why he's a bit of a last minute.
And the jockey turns up and it's fine. He's a human jockey and it's fine. Excellent. Okay, well that was another podcast.
So anyway,
please listen.
Oh, hang on,
next...
there's more.
Oh, go
hang
on.
on. So anyway, this big race is coming up. He's like, I've got to be involved in this because I can make a lot of money out of my horse here.
Choose the jockey wisely, then.
So he says to his mate, he said, look, I've got myself a horse and that. He said, we just need a jockey, get someone to sort it out and what have you, so we can get in this race.
Go to the jockey club.
His mate's like, yeah, all right, I'll have a word and that, have a look round and that, see if there's anyone decent.
And the good thing about jockeys is there's never been a shortage of jockeys because a lot of them don't make the grade. So there's always too many jockeys to go round.
Always too many human jockeys.
Yeah, there's never a problem getting jockeys.
Fine.
Go on.
So anyway, so he comes
Was that
back,
true in the 50s as well?
It's always been true.
always been true. It's always just wanted to
true.
clarify
There's no lack of jockeys.
So-
it's sort of close shot. People are trying to do it and they don't make the grade. So,
But in the 50s, from your knowledge, there was not, like in 1951, a shortage of jockeys for just 1 year.
absolutely never. I'd have known about
Okay,
that.
fine,
I'm
you-
quite
yeah.
keen.
Right.
Go on.
So anyway, right. So his mate says, "Look, I'm having a problem getting a jockey."
Seems odd because
no, this
Ricky's
is
just been
weird.
saying
No.
he's just been saying it's not a problem.
What do you mean? So,
Just because the main problem was,
Go on.
a lot of jockeys were aware of this gangster and were saying, "I'm not getting involved with this guy. The chances are I won't get paid. You know, he's a gangster. It's not worth it."
would do it if it was a gangster asking you. You'd be scared of the consequences.
So anyway, he's saying, "Look, don't be coming to me with problems and that, right? I've got the horse. I want it in the race. Sort it out." So they're like, "Oh, but boss," and he's like, "Don't give me any of that. Go and
Exactly.
sort it out."
They do what he says, so any jockey would do it. Go on.
So anyway, so the day before,
The big race, yeah. Left it to the last minute, okay, but
Yeah.
fine.
and he says, have you got a jockey then? They're like, "Yeah, but," and he's going, "Don't worry about it. Have you got a jockey?" "Yeah, but," and he's like, "Well, look."
He wants
what-
to say, sure, yeah.
So,
they won't-
he's saying, has he ridden horses before and that? He said, "Well, yeah, he has, but mainly," and he's like, "Brilliant." And he goes, "Yeah, but mainly in like a circus."
in the jung
No, like in the circus and that. He'd worked with horses and stuff.
in the
apparently.
circus.
It's fine.
So he's like, that's enough. That's all I need to know.
Well, they'd be too heavy because circus people
so-
are quite built, aren't they? They're
He
a
said
bit
so-
heavier than the jockey because the jockeys are about 8.5 stone.
He said, "Brilliant. Get him down there and that, right?" Anyway, the race happens.
He didn't want to meet him beforehand. He wasn't worried.
No
about that?
point. Not
No,
bothered.
no.
As far as he's concerned,
It's all
he's
sorted.
putting his money on it and what have you.
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
What happened is they were trying to make him put on the jockey outfit,
Yeah.
but for some reason it didn't fit that well.
Sleeves
And that-
too
it was-
short,
it was
legs too long.
It's that sort of problem.
Okay.
So they let him, like, wear his stuff that he wore in the circus and that, because it's comfortable with that. He's happy with it. Do you know what I mean? That's what he's happy with. Anyway, race starts and what have you. This horse straight out of the trap and that, high speed, right? This jockey's got a really big grin on his face. He's loving it, right? Everyone's cheering, going, "Who is this? Who's this jockey here?"
Yeah.
It's amazing. Never seen him before, and yet look at him.
But they can see his face clearly.
Anyway, Gangster's happy in that because he's won.
But I just said the crowd can see the jockey, can they?
What?
The crowd can. I mean, it's
Yeah, but
face
he's
not-
so fast and what have
The
you.
blur, it's a blur. It's all a blur. Rick.
He's good at it. I mean, apparently he was
Right.
close to falling off, and people were like, he's gone, he's a goner. But
Right.
he's got such a good reach that he managed to grab hold of
Oh,
the...
sure.
good reach. Oh.
And
Right,
well, they
so-
could tell he was smiling. They could tell he was smiling, but they couldn't see the detail of his face. Is that right? Just
Well,
to clarify
it was just blur and that.
Sure,
just
but
saw
they
a
could
big
tell he was
teeth.
smiling. Yeah,
yeah.
They knew he was happy.
At the end of it, do you know, like, the winner sort of rides around the crowd bit,
Yeah.
really, sort of, show off and what have you.
Yeah,
And all the women are there, and do you know, like, women are all dolled up at these events.
sure.
They've all got big hats on.
Sometimes they got fruit on those hats.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Right.
And one of the women,
In
one
the
of the
50s,
women,
particularly, Carmen Miranda was very popular. Yeah.
one of the women had like you say, fruit and what have you on it,
Yeah.
a little banana.
Right. Some kind of
They're
Cuban
not real.
woman.
They're not real though. The hats though. They're
not real fruit, is it?
No, of
Yeah.
course not. Never.
So
But I don't know
Really?
who. I thought they wore those sort of kind of Cuban
yeah, but
entertainment shows. I didn't realise they wore them
yeah,
at
but
events.
even if it's like a big event, you might have a hat with fruit, and it's sort of joke, but it's fake fruit because it would
Yeah.
perish. It
well,
would.
this jockey didn't understand that. He'd never seen false fruit.
I don't understand.
But why did the jockey suddenly? Why was he so desperate for fruit? I don't understand.
So anyway, meanwhile, the gangster's collecting his 500 quid winnings.
Yeah.
Right? He's over the moon.
Yeah.
He kicks off because of this woman with the fruit.
Yeah, I don't understand. I still don't understand
don't
why the
understand.
jockey would go.
Everyone noticed. Jockey, little monkey fella.
Oh, that makes sense. If he was a monkey, that would make sense.
Yeah.
What year was this? Because I want to.
It was 1950s, and that's where the saying comes from about, like in Cockney slang, 500 quid is a monkey. He sort of put, he put a monkey on it, and it all goes back to the time when
So this happened in England.
in this country,
It
yeah, in the
happened in England. So
1950s.
someone could well still be alive
So,
that we could easily
yeah.
contact. That
Well,
would
that's it.
confirm
We
that,
always,
'cause they were at
there's
the
no
event.
time length on this monkey news. If you've got any, if it's history, if it goes back,
Or if it's
years
made
ago,
up, bullshit.
just send it in.
If it's
to,
bollocks,
If you've got
send
any
it in.
bollocks
If it's
that
absolute
you wanna
bollocks,
send in.
please send it in.
That's this week's monkey news.
RickyGervais.com. Well, that's the end of the 10th podcast in a series of 12. Only 2 more to go. 1 more hour of the drivel that is the thoughts of Chairman Pilkington, or Dilkington, as he should now be known. This podcast was brought to you by Positive Internet. Those great guys at Positive Internet host the world's #1 podcast. It's goodbye from me, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant,
If you want to get in touch, remember it's podcast@rickygervais.com.
and Karl Pilkington.
Right.
Hello and welcome to number 11 in our series of 12 podcasts with me, Ricky Gervais. Hello, Stephen Merchant.
Hello.
And Karl Pilkington.
Right.
Now, Karl, you have become a phenomenon. Okay? Right. This is a news story that's gone everywhere. It started, I think, in New York, Reuters, and then that's been taken up by every Reuters network everywhere. India, all over Australia, England. Okay, here it is. The headline is, Podcast makes Britain an unlikely internet icon. Britain there, Briton. Okay? Now, this is the story by Mark Egan, and it came out of New York originally. Unemployed British radio producer Karl Pilkington has become an unlikely superstar by using the medium of podcasting for his bizarre statement about eating an animal's private parts. Remember that?
Yeah, it was more about like that reality show.
Well, it says that here. It was during a discussion on the Gervais show about a reality TV show where contestants were asked to eat an animal's penis. Pilkington made internet history while talking about this, it says, right? First, he said he could not eat an animal's penis in the morning because he had a delicate stomach. He then proclaimed, using the British slang for penis, I could eat a knob at night. Okay? His knob soundbite has become so popular that a Google search for I could eat a knob at night yields more than 500,000 listings, okay? Among them are T-shirts featuring the slogan, okay, and Pilkington's bald head, selling for $17.
Why did I have to make a point about your bald head?
I don't know. Why is that getting a little mention?
Wow!
That doesn't matter. See the T-shirt. Have a look at it. I mean, what is bald? I'm not buying one then. It's not going to make any difference. Either you want a T-shirt with me head on or you don't. It's not an issue.
All it says is,
but
among
also,
them are T-shirts featuring the slogan and Pilkington's bald head. I also liked it when it said, Pilkington plays the village idiot on the Ricky Gervais show, okay? Now, plays the village idiot suggests that he thinks you're a character, that character being a village idiot. The problem is, the fact that you're not a character, to me, suggests that you are just a village idiot.
A global village idiot.
Yeah. Now...
Just on the websites, though, when it said... There's loads of websites about eating a knob at night.
Yeah.
Have they looked at each website and gone, yeah, that's to do with the podcast?
Yeah.
Or is it just like gays and that saying, oh, I love a bit of knob at night?
It's a valid question.
It's a valid question. That's why you're an internet icon, Karl, because you say things like that. After Gervais mused on the show that the soundbite could be used in a dance remix, it took just a few days for the internet to be awash with songs using the soundbite as a hook. So what do you think of that, Karl?
Oh... I mean, is it big in India?
Well, I don't know. It goes around the world. This is a story.
I know, but I
that's
just
showing
can't
the
believe
world...
the problems that... If I was in India, I wouldn't be getting upset about someone in London talking about a knob at night with the problems they've got.
Well, I don't think anyone's getting upset in India.
No,
He's just saying that the information's...
I can't imagine people walking around India. Have you heard that song, Knob at Night? I can't imagine that happening with the, they're hungry and that, and it's dusty and everything.
That's your image of India, is it? They're hungry and it's dusty.
I assume it's, the parts of India that aren't dusty and in poverty. There is a lot of poverty in India, but there's also,
Yeah, but these
it's
parts
still a major civilization, and the people that live in apartments with computers, they probably might tune in.
But I don't think it's an issue all over the world, is it? Because there's some places where they eat dogs. They'd go, knob at night, not a problem. Might not be a bad thing. You go, why is that out on a T-shirt? I had one last Wednesday. Not an issue. What do you mean? No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, again, if there are cannibals listening, if there's, in places that you wouldn't travel to, and that they get hold of a little laptop and an iPod, and they're listening to that, I can eat a knob at night, then they're going, what's the problem? What's the big deal? We love a knob at night.
Yeah,
we love a little knob at night, yeah. Bollocks in the morning, knob at night. That's the rule.
But what about the fact that they're saying you're a phenomenon, a global phenomenon? Because when you were, a tiny little round-headed mank growing up in Manchester, you could not surely have ever anticipated that you would one day be described as a phenomenon, an international phenomenon.
But, at the end of the day, I went to that school, with a kid with a big head and webbed hands. Now he should be being talked about.
Well, maybe he doesn't want to be talked about. If you've grown up with a big head and webbed hands, the last thing you want to be is talked about. He wants to put on
to blend into society.
He wants to put on a bit of a pair of mittens and paint his head like a crash helmet, so people think, oh, it looks like a big head, but it's probably just the crash helmet.
Yeah, just go about his business.
Yeah,
unnoticed.
We won't get stopped on a bike or anything.
Yeah, but I say if you've got something that's a bit weird, use it.
That's what we're doing.
That's exactly what me and Steve are doing. We have got something that's a bit weird, and we're using it. And I want to speak to the people all around the world. Thanks for listening. But how famous can you make Karl Pilkington? Are you a journalist? Please write about this for people who probably haven't listened to Karl. Talk about Karl Pilkington. Put a little poster up in your window. I love Karl Pilkington. Print a badge. Give it away. Email your friends. Tell one person about this podcast and let them discover the amazing beauty that is Karl Pilkington's mind.
Right.
As ever, Rick, there are hundreds and thousands of emails coming in. People contributing all kinds of stuff, pictures as always, and little video clips that I think might be of interest. And of course, as ever, lots of questions for Karl as well, just to sort of try and tap into his brain, see what's going on there. Question from Jade Ramira. Karl, what would you change if you were in charge of what kids are taught in school? Right, you know, because I mean, your school experience was a bit iffy. You got very bored, didn't you? You got very disillusioned by school.
Yeah. What I'd do, right, is instead of sort of teaching kids about 2 and 2 and that, she's 4, right?
Well done.
Show off.
I think they should be asked more questions that make them think rather than something that has just got an answer.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
Right? So,
Yeah. To teaching them the quest for knowledge, inflaming their imagination.
but just freaking them out a bit as well. Just going like...
See, I knew that's where it was going. Because as soon as you started talking, Rick, I was thinking you're thinking some of the big existential or philosophical questions. You know, what does it mean to be human? What does it mean to interact with other humans? To be a human.
Or teaching them sort of like philosophy on a basic level, that, you know, teaching them the love for learning. So, you know, get them out to a roots level so they want to learn and then they will learn, as opposed to just teaching them facts.
Whereas...
He was thinking, freak them out a bit.
Yeah.
No, just like, you know, like I read the other day, and someone sent it in on email, like how there's a dishwasher that's been found on Mars.
Rubbish.
Whoa, what?
But it's not true.
So tell them that.
But it's not true.
Go home and write about it. How did that happen?
But it didn't happen.
Well, it did happen. It was in a Science magazine.
No, it didn't happen. There's not a dishwasher on Mars.
Why not?
Because...
What do you mean, why not?
How did it get there?
But we're always sending, like, rubbish out there and that. It's like...
Not dishwashers. What, you think the council take it away and they go, where can we put it? Well, the tip's full. Well, where's the nearest thing we can dump this? Mars, I imagine.
No, but the same way that fella who, I don't know, was it 2 Christmases ago, when he was messing about saying I can get stuff to Mars and all that, he did it wrong because he did it on, like, Boxing Day, and I just think nobody's concentrating. No one wants to work on that day. It's kind of like, you know what I mean? They're going to do stuff sort of half-arsed, aren't they, on Boxing Day? So... it didn't really get there, I don't think, but it crash-landed.
What are you talking about? What was he trying to do?
He was sending something up to Mars.
Yeah, that little fella that wanted to get something on Mars, and it got...
probe, you mean?
And it didn't open properly.
Yeah.
It got there, didn't open.
But the thing is, it got there, it didn't open properly. No one's been back to pick it up. And what I'm saying is, we're saying about going to Mars as our next planet. It's a tip. There's loads of stuff that's been flirted up there.
No, it's not.
What are you talking about?
It's just all, like, that probe thing is still there, rotting away.
Yeah. So... ipso facto, there is a dishwasher on Mars. We've settled that. Why would they have a dishwasher on Mars? Would they take the dishwasher up with the space shuttle in case they had dinner parties? What are you talking about?
I just think they would have a little dishwasher in there. There's a lot of them, tight space. You don't want who's going to do that? You know, that means...
Do you know how much fuel it takes to move a kilogram out of the Earth's atmosphere? So they're going to take up a dishwasher, are they?
Sorry, but what are they cooking up there, Karl?
How many people does it take to fly a rocket?
How
many people? Tell me how many people.
Well, it's either one monkey with a banana shoot that feeds it, or probably 2 or 3 humans.
Right, say it's 3 humans.
Yeah.
Now, there's 3 humans, because they need one to steer it, one to, like, be going, yeah, we're all right.
Yeah,
One to make some hors d'oeuvres.
One to stop at the petrol station to get more...
What I'm saying is, if you're going to start having a sink, then whoever's
They
washing
haven't got
up...
a sink.
I know, because they've got a dishwasher.
He's got you there.
But anyway, I'm not going to go into that. But all I'm saying is, teach kids things about... Say to them, right, when you go home tonight, there was dinosaurs knocking about ages ago. How would you have lived with them? Get on with it. See you later.
Well, they didn't. I've told you this before. You got a lot of your information from the Flintstones and 1 million years BC with Raquel Welch. There weren't dinosaurs knocking around where there were little fellas knocking around in furry pants.
No, but just sort of saying to them, all right, then, here's a different question.
Go on then.
Would it be better to have dinosaurs knocking about now whilst we're here? Because I put that in my diary the other day. That when you think about it, there's a population problem.
Yeah.
There's too many of us.
Yeah.
we're saving people all the time. No one's allowed to get injured anymore. You've got to, wear a helmet when you're on a bike. There's speed bumps to slow people down. Zebra crossing. Cures for illnesses. No one's dying anymore, right?
Well, I think they are.
Not as many as they should be, because the world's crowded. All I'm saying is
there's still people dying. I think there's still people dying.
Not that many, though.
Yeah, I think there's still millions of people dying.
Apparently, a handful.
Loads of people are living longer, and that's a problem. So
you
what I'm
feel
saying
that
is,
you should introduce Tyrannosaurus Rex into, say, London, just have him wandering around, just picking people off.
That's what. Just sort of random and that. Because I don't know. I mean, I'm not wishing that anyone I know dies and that. But all I'm saying is, I don't know anyone who's died for ages.
Right.
Whereas if a dinosaur was knocking about, you'd go, Neil's gone missing.
Yeah. And Nora's had her head bitten off by a...
Whatever. I just think then it is survival of the fittest, which is, we've lost all that now. You don't even have to be fit to survive. You just keep sticking a new lung on you. Or... Do you know what I mean? They can do too much now to keep people going.
They just keep sticking a new lung on you.
Question from Kevin. He says, Carl, other than the famous boxing match that you've often talked about, I know that took up about 20 minutes of your time, have you ever been in any other kind of fight? I don't suppose a slanging match. I think they're talking, have you ever been in a physical fight?
Once that I can remember. It was over a woman. Well, a girl. I was at school.
Yeah.
And it was because, it's hassle, innit? Right? Relationships when you're younger.
How old were you?
About 7.
It was over a woman.
Go on then. Yeah, go on.
And there was this girl knocking about who, she was quite good looking, everybody liked. And my mate, he really liked her. And I didn't sort of ask her out on that, but she just sort of took a shine to me and stuff, right? And didn't really go out with her properly. It's at that age where going out with someone is just like sort of going, all right, in the morning. Do you know what I mean? You just sort of nod your head.
Yeah.
And that. Anyway, there was some sort of school disco, and they were playing Spin the Bottle or something, right? And I sort of wandered over to see what was going on, and I stood on this girl's dress and put a hole in it, and she started crying. I was like, oh, I can't be dealing with this, right? What's up with you? It's old, what's up with you? And everyone's going, Carl, what are you doing? That's meant to be your girlfriend and that. You should be sort of saying, oh, I'm sorry, and giving her a hug and all that, and saying it'll be all right, we'll sort the dress out. I said, oh, I can't be dealing with this. No. Right? So she's crying her eyes out, so it's over, right?
Oh, it's over, you saying, right, in the morning. Yeah.
No more of that.
Yeah, there's no more. Right. In the morning.
So I go to the toilet, right, and this lad who fancies her comes in and goes, you're out of order. I'm saying, what are you on about?
Sorry, there's 2 7-year-olds. Yeah, you're out of order. Keep out.
Yeah. Cut it out. Show her a bit of bloody respect.
Sorry, were you wearing trilbies?
Yeah. He put his cigarette out in the sink, and he just said, leave it.
Get out of my face.
So I just sort of said, look, why are you getting involved and all that?
Yeah.
2 7-year-olds. Yeah. Why are you getting involved?
And it was obviously because he fancied her and that. We had a bit of a fight in there.
Yeah.
I accidentally sort of chipped his tooth on a sink. Right?
Wow, is it like a proper...
Sorry, this is like something from Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? 2 7-year-olds in a toilet.
So you put a hole in her dress. I don't know how that... What were you wearing? Football boots? How did you make a hole in her dress?
I don't know. It was like that sort of material.
You were wearing winkle pickers.
Like crepe. You know what I mean? It was like a crepe dress or something.
Yeah.
Right.
And that got a hole in it.
So you're having and when you say you're having a fight, I mean, are you wrestling with it? You got arm locks and head locks? A little bit
of wrestling and shoving about and that, and it was an accident. I didn't sort of go, right, I'm going to break your teeth or anything. It's just that I happened to push his head down, and his tooth hit the sink,
right,
and it chipped and what have you. After that, I sort of left there and stuff, and we had to go into assembly, and there was a copper in there doing some presentation saying, listen, kids, don't get into trouble, because we're out there and we'll get you. Right, so sort of trying to teach the kids young not to get into any trouble and stuff. So I'm sat in the assembly room thinking, oh God, there's a copper here talking, and my mate's going to come in a minute, with a chipped tooth and everything. And
questions are going to get asked.
That's what kind of happened. I mean, the coppers didn't get involved,
Yeah.
Did you turn your back on violence after that then?
Yeah.
well,
he said, "You'll never take me alive, copper."
yeah.
So yeah, that was the sort of last fight.
Brilliant.
Some of the questions coming in now, Rick, are just, I don't know what they're intending. What response they're hoping for, really. This is one from Rob. He just says, I was just wondering, what are Carl's views on the human appendix?
What do you think, Carl? What do you think of the human appendix?
Never worried about it.
Well, no, I think Rob's point is that it's sort of pretty redundant now. Yeah. The appendix used to be an organ that was packed with these enzymes that help break down things like cellulose. But because of our diet now, and because cooking and other things, we don't need to eat a lot of cellulose. We don't eat very, very low grade things like rabbits, for example, huge appendix and cecum, and they use it to break down cellulose. They actually eat their own feces to get it through again. But we get a lot of nutrients out of food now. We eat very rich food, so we sort of don't need the appendix. And also, when something goes wrong with the appendix, if it bursts, it can infect you and you can die from it. So sort of what's the point in having it? We don't need it, and it can only cause us harm. That was the question, I think, that Rob was putting to you. So now what are your thoughts on the human appendix?
So this is kind of what we've talked about before, where...
He always says that. He always says something like, "Oh, we've talked as well," and the thing that he's talked about is nothing like it. Yeah. There's never. Go on.
No, but just like in the way that we've messed with our body, and we've messed with the world too much.
Yeah.
If we've got an appendix, we must need it. If it's dangling about, right?
Well, no, because such is the human evolution is that. As you said before, it's no longer based on survival of the fittest, because we can fight nature and combat it. So our evolution, if you like, socially and everything else, it has been much faster than our biological evolution.
What I mean is we've obviously interfered somewhere along the way, and
we have interfered. Yeah,
we shouldn't have done, because it's the same way. Like if we didn't have planes and that, would we have wings now? If we'd have needed to get about, would we have had wings?
No, the answer's no. Next.
No, but you say that, but look at the way...
Because he's right, is it? Because he's right.
No, but all I'm saying is you see that little picture of like an ape to man.
Yeah.
At first, they're crawling about on all fours because probably you're looking for food, so you want to be down there. So
right.
if you're on both legs, you're missing stuff that's on the floor.
What sort of time period do you think this... Because, we started, dabbling with a plane maybe 100 years ago. So what sort of time period do you think this little thing who's scrabbling around looking for food stood up and walked?
I don't know. I sort of don't worry about time. Sort of
well, I'll tell you now, we wouldn't have wings now. If the Wright brothers had said, forget it, we wouldn't have wings now.
What would happen? Right, here's another question. This is one that I chuck out to kids as well. We were talking about education, teaching kids stuff.
Sure.
What would happen, right? We ruin this world, right? Goes wrong and that, right? They shut it down. They go, we're moving. We go to another planet.
It's as simple as that in his world. It's as simple as that.
We can't go to Mars because it's full of stuff that used to be in Dixon's.
It's like a tip.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. So we can't go there. We go somewhere else.
So you find another planet, wherever it is, right?
Wherever it is, easy.
Something that I've always wondered about, if we do that, do we start New Year's, or do we carry on? Do you know what I mean? Do we say, it's still 2006? Or do we go, it's world new, or whatever, new world?
That is definitely the first priority.
It's year one. Right, we've sorted that out. Right, now...
Well, it depends, doesn't it? Because a year might not be the same on this planet.
We'd sort that out. Right, we'd sort out what year it is and that.
Well, no. What I'm saying is, we'd have to start again anyway, because the planet might not take 1 year as we know it to go around the sun. It might not take a day to turn. A day is a day because that's how long it takes.
But we'd have to carry on as we know, because we don't want to start doing longer days and that. Otherwise, it'll just kick off and say, "This is rubbish. This new world. What are you doing?"
No,
I'm doing a 28-hour day.
We wouldn't have a choice. A day is how long it takes the planet to turn, and a year is how long it takes that planet to go around the sun.
But a day is man-made, really. There's places in the world where they're working in the dark, isn't there, in Iceland and that? But they don't go, well, it's dark all the time, so I'll stay in bed.
Well, no, but there's still a day. It's still 24 hours in a day in Iceland.
Yeah, but we only work by that clock because that's what people use at the moment when they go, what time is it? You go, it's 20 past 11.
No. We use that because that's how long it takes the planet we're on to
I've never worried about it like that. I've just always...
Well, no, I'm telling you...
Well, that's because you weren't asked to get involved when they came up with the idea.
I'm telling you that's what a day is. It's how long it takes your planet to... What would you mean? What?
No, I'm just saying that's fine and everything. But if when I was born, people said there's 26 hours in a day, I'd go, fair enough. I'm not going to argue it.
We could have made that how long an hour is. Yeah, we could have made hours shorter and get 26
Well,
in.
they're saying they're going to do that. Because,
no, they're not.
No, they are, because there's so
not.
many people in the world.
Yeah.
This is what I was talking about before. They've got to create more jobs. The only way to have more jobs, keep shops open, take on more people. Everyone's happy.
That makes no sense at all.
Right, say if there's 28 hours in a day.
Yeah, it'd still be 24 hours long as we used to know it.
No, you'd have like, oh, what time is it? Oh, it's like 20 past 25 or whatever.
Well, you're not making any sense at all.
No, I'm just saying.
The Earth would still take 24 hours as we know it now.
Forget it.
Hang on a minute, I want... there's more interesting territory here. Let's say we've got to our new planet, wherever that is. It takes 14 hours, okay, to do its turn. So we call that a day, right? So we've now agreed that 14 hours is a day.
But nothing, it's going to take ages to get the town centre built and that. If you've only got...
I'm going with you, I'm defending you here!
Alright. Yeah.
So we've got that. We've established what the day is. We've established what a year is. Right? It's year one. It's Karl year one. What next? All right. We've got all the people. We've moved to another planet. You said you had a bunch of other questions.
Don't forget, our sleep patterns have evolved on a day. The reason we sort of like go to sleep at night and have about 8 to 10 hours sleep is because that's our evolution.
No, but that's that's just because that's what we've got used to, isn't it?
Yeah.
You look at a sloth. That's asleep all the time. Yeah, that's got the same watch as us. It's doing what it
but
wants.
it evolved differently, didn't it? It evolved
but it's living now in 2006, so wake it up. Right, you can't get away. You're not getting away with this anymore. If you want to live now, join in with us.
Well, it's that time again. It's the feature that the world is saying could rival Monkey News one day. Ready? Oh, what's he written today?
Well, Karl's diary. You didn't explain what it was.
Karl's diary.
Actually, one person said if we are going to get it published, we could maybe publish it as the Diary of an Idiot.
Very good.
So, a little riff there on one of the most famous diaries. Sunday, got up, sunny day, so went for a walk in the park. There was a bloke walking down the street who was whistling some kind of annoying tune. He seemed quite happy with himself. Do people only whistle when they're happy? I don't whistle very much.
It's a good point. Whistling is so inane to me. But yeah, it's sort of like going, I'm content. It really is that thing that if they go, you go, well, Mr. Mellors, I'm afraid we've got some bad news. Not only has your wife died, but you've lost the house. Thanks, Doctor.
Wouldn't happen. Would it?
No, you don't whistle when you're sad. The other place you hear it, of course, is changing rooms, and that's men going, I'm whistling, so I'm not looking at your cock. How could I be? I'm concentrating on whistling.
The lake was frozen over where I was walking. The ducks looked worried. They were sat on the edge of the lake waiting for it to melt. Were they, Karl?
Yeah, we just sat there looking, sort of going, oh, what's going on? I don't know. How long is a duck's memory? Because I wondered whether they're going, this doesn't seem right, but I don't know why.
I asked Suzanne why ducks don't use their wings much. They seem to walk and swim more and don't bother using their wings. Suzanne said she had to call her mum and dad, so I never got an answer.
The old excuse. Yeah. Suzanne. Oh, I can't talk now, Karl.
Gotta phone my mum. There was a marathon type run going on in the park. It reminded me of the time when we were moving flat. It was the day of the London Marathon. Me and Suzanne were walking down the middle of the road, taking some stuff to our new flat. I was carrying a lamp and a kitchen bin. People were clapping me, thinking I was doing some kind of fun run.
Why were you walking on the same route?
Because it was when we lived on the Docklands.
Oh, brilliant.
There was no other route. The flat was just about 100 yards down the road.
They're going, look at the bloke with the bald wig. He's carrying a lamp and a bin.
Took a bag of old clothes to Oxfam. It was just old T-shirts and a couple of jumpers with holes in it. I don't think anyone will buy them. But the Oxfam is closer to the flat than the wheelie bin is.
Oh, chimpanzee, that has only gone and written it down.
The jingle there to announce yet another reading from Karl Pilkington's diary. When are you going to write until, Karl? What have you got? You're going to do?
I've got to do
as far as December, and then that's it.
I don't know. When does the diary end?
31st December usually.
Yeah.
Do it the whole way there?
Typical, always the same.
Yeah, that's when I'll do it till, and then.
Why do that? Why be conformist? Why Why end on December? Why not end on January the 31st? Weird that you should go. Don't be constrained to what the diary
Please.
says.
Me mam called me to ask me to like. Fuck me, you're right. Look, that should be. Me mam called me to ask me to look in some of the magazine shops in London for a magazine that she can't find. It's called UFO Data. I said, I ain't heard of it. She said she's seen an advert for it in one of her ghost magazines.
I love the fact that she can't even find the magazine about unidentified flying objects.
Yeah. So we get a clue.
She
there.
thinks, I think I saw something, but I don't know whether it was a magazine or not.
So we get a clue there as to why you give any credence to this crap.
Yeah, well, it's, you know, I mean...
Mama Pilkington's into the same shit.
There's a lot of space out there, isn't there?
She said that this magazine has got news story about how Aldrin, brackets astronaut, has got some evidence that aliens exist.
Yeah.
I told her that I found out today that the days are about 36 minutes longer on Mars. We chatted about how this is how they are more advanced than us. Do you mean the Martians?
Yeah, if they've got a longer day, that's more time that they're awake, working on stuff.
Right, yeah, we know that makes no difference at all.
No, it does.
Think about it. Think about it.
Look, think about it. 6 o'clock here.
Yeah.
People are going, see you tomorrow. I'm going home. They'll be going, oh, another half hour. They've got a longer day. Productive.
And that's why they're able to fly.
That's why they're whizzing around. It adds up, doesn't it, over the years?
Christ almighty, what drivel!
Suzanne got in from work at 11:30. I told her about the UFOs in Mars. She said she's too tired to chat. I said, does it mean aliens will be more tired than us, or do they get more sleep? I got no answer. I love it when Suzanne goes in. She never indulges in
it
this.
scares her. Anything with ghosts and UFOs, she sort of...
It doesn't
ignores
scare her, it bores her.
No, it freaks her out. Scares her.
Okay. I'm knackered today, and the face feels dry and spotty. Oh God, what's wrong with
It starts off moaning. The first thing he does is start moaning. He wakes up and goes, oh, fuck me, I didn't die. Oh, God.
I'm knackered today and the face feels dry and spotty. I think it's the change in water since being away. Or it could be all the... it could be all the Madeira cake I had yesterday.
I'm gonna burst.
But what's the Madeira cake? The Madeira cake dries you out, does it?
Well, it's just quite fattening, isn't it? But I like it. It's one of the little pleasures.
Oh, God almighty.
I went for a wander about to try and find the UFO Data magazine from Imam. I didn't know which category to look under. There were too many magazines. I noticed how on the rude magazines, the women are being pretty rude on the cover, but on the gay magazines, it's just a fella smiling, showing a bit of arse. I don't know why gay blokes would buy it. Blokes have got their own knob to look at if they like knobs. Why were you looking at the gay magazine?
No, I wasn't. It's just...
Oh, you were?
No, I
You
noticed
studied them.
Yeah, because I
you've
was
written
looking
about
for UFO data. I don't know where they put it.
I don't think you find evidence of other worlds down men's pants. Yeah, I don't think you want to boldly go where no man has ever gone before, Carl.
I had no luck trying to find the UFO Data magazine. I will try some other shops. He writes UFO Data magazine every time. He can just put UFO mag, but
No, but it
you want to
reminds
be
me.
right. You want to be specific.
If I write stuff down, it means that I remember it more.
Sure.
So, still looking for it.
Got some posts from Oxfam. They're flogging animals for Africa again. They've got new animals in their catalogue now. They've got donkeys and alpacas. Donkeys 50 quid, alpacas 20 pounds. I don't know if this is a special rate or if I could get one from Imam. She's been saying how they've been missing having a pet since they had the cat put down.
Sorry, you don't get it. If you buy that for someone, you don't get it.
Yeah, but they're not bothered where they're going.
Yes,
as long
they
as they're
do.
getting
Of
the
course
money.
they don't. They don't deliver them. It's not like they're in a warehouse wondering, people thinking, I hope people buy this. They're going to put them out there. They're.
But at the end of the day, 50 quid's 50 quid, and they're not bothered. If they're
Right.
sending an alpaca to Africa,
Yeah.
and I'm saying, can you get one to London? To them, that is less hassle.
Right. Carl, that's not how it works. You can't just go and say, oh, I'll have one of them.
They're not bothered. It's for charity.
Carl, of course they are. You can't buy an alpaca for 20 quid. Christ almighty. Plus postage and packaging. They're big bastards.
Read about a pub that is getting some stick because they've stopped a horse going in. It's been the horses regular for ages, but there's been some new owners who've taken over the pub, and they said they're serving fresh food and don't want a horse in there anymore.
Oh, God. We've got to publish this diary.
There's some dynamite stuff in here.
We've got to publish the diary. I mean, this is never mind, peeps. Can't we put this out next year or something with a special CD? It's amazing. You can't keep this from the world, Carl.
I met Suzanne after she finished work, and we went for a brew in another cafe.
God, Jesus.
It's always having a brew in a cafe.
It's like a sitcom.
It is. Suzanne said I look tired and fed up. I think it's because I ain't been sleeping.
Or the Madeira cake, we don't know. Or he's been going to every news agency in London, looking at game magazines.
She taught me some way to breathe that will relax me. I wasn't feeling that relaxed, though, because the person behind the counter was banging about making a coffee. Noise stresses me out. I wonder if less deaf people die of stress than people with working ears do.
Oh, it's the theories. It's the theories.
It is such a noisy world, though, isn't it?
It is. London is noisy, very noisy.
I think just everywhere, just noise in general. They were saying how, like, every noise has been used at least 5 times or something.
What do you mean?
Because there's only so many noises in the world.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, there's only so many
What
noises.
do you mean every noise has been used 5 times? I don't know what that means. I don't know what it means.
Because
I don't know. I've no idea. Every noise once has been used at least 5 times.
there's only so many noises. It's like a piano, isn't there? There's only so many notes.
Yeah.
And there's only so many noises.
Right.
But because there's so much stuff, the same noises are being used again.
I don't know what that means.
By whom? Who's reusing the noise?
By whatever.
So a
you'll have-
woodpecker when it's woodpecking?
Yeah. Some birds make noises that would sound like a Ford Escort, just because there's only so many noises that people can use.
What is he talking about?
Noises are a byproduct. Outside an instrument, noises are a byproduct. A machine, they don't go, watch me make this noise, make this machine. It makes the noise it makes when it's doing something.
But why does it make that noise? Why not pick another noise?
They don't pick the noise.
Who's picking the noise?
A printing press makes the noise because it's the sound of the thing going down.
Yeah,
you
so
know,
the printing-
a hammer makes that noise because that's what it does. No one's going, oh, can we make this make a different noise? No, it's a byproduct.
I know. So there's only so many noises.
I don't know what you mean.
You said the byproduct is because of something that's happening, right?
But it's the physical action, isn't it? And the way that impacts on the surrounding air. That's what how noises are manufactured. It's not a choice.
When Stevenson's rocket came, I went. They went. Can you make it go? That's the noise it made.
I know, but then, say like a new frog comes out.
Oh, what do you mean a new frog comes out?
They find a new type of frog.
Right.
It makes a noise, and they'll go, "Yeah, I knew it was going to sound like that."
What are you talking about?
Because there's only so many noises. No animal comes out and makes like a weird noise, and you go, "I've never heard that noise before." They go, "Oh, that sounds like a chicken," or "It sounds like a Ford Escort," or there's only so many noises.
Frog sounds like a Ford Escort?
Well,
but
there
there'll be
can't be
some
many
animal.
because you've used Ford Escort twice as an analogy here. So you're running out of noises. You've come up with chicken and Escort so far.
I can't
But
explain
the problem
it.
is, a Ford Escort sounds a bit like an Austin Allegro. So
I
don't
know, yeah. And a chicken, you're ripping off the turkey, you cunt. Oh, chimpanzee, that is competition time.
I think my worry there is people might get confused with it because that jingle's very similar to the Monkey News jingle.
There's aspects of it that's similar, yeah.
Yeah. Some people might have just heard that, and they might have just heard chimpanzee and thought, oh, great, it's Monkey News, but Carl presumably is too lazy to have actually prepared any Monkey News.
Oh, I've got some good news about Monkey News, actually.
Have you?
If you are craving Monkey News, then there is a special Monkey News poster in the CD, the 3 CD box set, the Ricky Gervais show. Got everything. It's got the 12 shows and MP3. It's got the best of, and it's got an extra hour of brand new material as well. And the reason we did it on CD is because some people were saying, I've heard about this, but I can't listen to it. I haven't got an iPod. I haven't got a computer. So buy that for a friend who can't listen to these.
It's the perfect Thanksgiving gift.
It is the perfect Thanksgiving gift, or Pancake Tuesday. And we've signed one that's going to a lucky winner. We did a competition on the last podcast to give away one of the CD box sets, the World of Karl Pilkington and we've signed that. And Flannels of the Deep, the new book in the series.
Can you remind us, Rick, of the quiz question?
The quiz question was, do you want these?
Okay, and what was the correct answer?
It was yes.
Well, we've had, it's amazing actually how many people didn't realise that was, we had a lot of people saying no, I'm not interested, who are you, why are you bothering me? But, amazingly, Rachel Bolland from Glasgow has got the correct answer. She said yes. Now then, we need a new question, Rick.
Yeah, should we give those away again?
Let's give those away again, the same things again. Not obviously these, we'll send these to Rachel.
Different ones. You get, so you get, do you want a signed CD, The World Karl Pilkington and Flannels of the Deep, okay?
Plus, we can also add to that, Rick, the forthcoming extras script book.
Ah, not just a script book, Steve.
No.
It's got some wonderful pictures, but that taken by Rich Hardcastle, of people like Ben Stiller and Sam Jackson and Kate Winslet behind the scenes.
In their off-duty moments.
And it's brilliant. It's really good. We'll put some pictures up on the website. Go to rickygervais.com and you'll see what you could we'd be winning.
Yeah.
Yeah?
So we've got that perfect collection of stuff, but we need a new quiz question.
Okay. Okay, so those prizes, does someone else want them?
Does someone else want them?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Well, if you know the answer to that, then get in touch. podcast@rickygervais.com. Good luck, it's a tricky one.
Oh, good luck anyway, because I never read the emails. Well, that's the end of the second in this series of 3 special podcasts. That was the end of the Thanksgiving edition. With me, Ricky Gervais, Steve Merchant.
See ya.
And Karl Pilkington.
All right.
Thank you to Positive Internet, the guys that host this podcast. They're doing a great job.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving. Hello, and welcome to our Christmas podcast. With me, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant.
Hello.
And Karl Pilkington.
All right.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
A lot of people are wondering, Rick, if having done so many podcasts this year, because we very much started the whole podcast revolution ourselves single-handedly roughly this time last year.
Yeah, that's right.
Have we perhaps exhausted the podcast phenomenon? Is it time to pack up the equipment and move on to something new?
Well, this will be the last one for a little while, I think. I think, you know, we did, I think 24 and then these specials this year. I think we started it about this time last year.
Well, I don't know about you, Rick, but I'm bored of the whole podcasting thing, and I know that you probably feel the same way.
Well, let's stop for a while. We might get back together again, but it won't be for a while. It's the... You know, we had a year. It was the year of the podcast.
A weird year, isn't it?
Go on.
No, I'm just saying, you know, when you look at it like that, when you think about all the podcasts that we've done
Yeah.
over a year,
Yeah.
just a lot of stuff has gone on.
Looking back at the year, a year in which we've seen, you know, increasing violence in Iraq. We've seen the advent of more fears over global warming. We've seen George W. Bush take a massive battering in the midterm elections. We've seen many major world events this year. Karl, what stuck out for you?
What event do you, if you think, oh my God, if you were doing your own review of the year, what would you put on the front cover?
The grub that was eating biscuits on the windowsill.
Right, that's just a little bit more up there for you than the capturing of Saddam Hussein and his sentencing to death.
Just because, you know, it's I never thought I'd see that this year.
So what exactly?
What, the capture of Saddam or the grub?
No, the grub.
The grub.
It was just I was there on the computer.
Yeah.
I was having a cup of tea and a biscuit. I put the biscuit on the windowsill. I sort of picked it up.
Why would you do that?
Why?
Why would you put a biscuit on a windowsill?
Because I'm sat next to the windowsill.
It's like something from a cartoon. I put the pie on the windowsill to cool down.
Yeah.
No,
And
so,
some ruffian stole it.
Yeah.
so I was eating that and I was enjoying it. Put the rest of it back down for like the next half of the cup of tea. And I saw...
Planned out. This is. I bet. Well, we'll read about this later in the diary.
And then I saw just like a little crumb moving. I was like, what's going on there?
Yeah.
So I looked down closer and there's an insect that is see-through, but with legs. And just sort of running off with a crumb into like a little hole. And then when I looked, I noticed there was loads of these little see-through things. And they were obviously all like, oh, I got biscuit. And
That's exactly what they were saying.
We've got
biscuits over here.
but I can't, that, what,
Come
what,
on,
what, what was
target
it, like I
mates.
say, it was amazing because it was they're miles away from what I'm about, and yet
Not that far.
but they still like a bit of biscuit, and it was just weird that happened. I never thought that would happen in 2006. and that's
You never thought that would happen in 2006.
That's what's nice, isn't it? That's
his
what's
mind.
nice about the the nature of the world. You know, we can invent iPods, we can bring out better vacuum cleaners, but at the end of the day, you can't make nature up. And to see this see-through thing,
You do.
eating a biscuit,
blow your
that's
mind?
where I've sort of gone this year. I'd say out of anything, I've sort of gone out of my way to learn more stuff about weird stuff that's
But I
out
don't
there.
know what you've learned. You've learned that
A creature which you can't even identify or
you
name.
don't know, right? You don't know what it is, right? Looked like it nicked a bit of crumb. I don't know what knowledge is that. What is that? How is that useful?
Just because everything is changing.
But it's not useful. It's not useful to you, and it's not useful to anyone. You can't pass on that as knowledge because we don't know what it was,
But Carl
or where
thinks,
it happened, or
but-
why it happened.
But Rick, Carl thinks that the grub has an inkling, has a taste for McVitie's in the same way that Carl does. That's why
Yeah.
he's from Mace. He's thinking, I can't believe it. We both love hobnobs.
As
It's
opposed to just being
extraordinary.
taking the
He would have
starch
eaten
from the
anything.
flour.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that these things have been around for years,
Yes.
maybe longer than us,
Yes.
right? Now, their life isn't changing in the way that ours have. They still live in a little crack in the wall,
Yeah.
but they're eating biscuit, and that was never meant to happen. So it's changing it. What
But
I mean is, you might start getting fat insects. That should never have happened. You don't normally see a fat beetle. You go, oh, look, that's a bit fat. Put a bit of weight on. And now that's going to happen because they're eating sugary stuff. The squirrels in the park, because people are feeding them Mars bars and everything, they're getting fatter, they're getting bigger, they're getting more violent. Now, over time, you know, they're going to cause more trouble than they
What
are now.
evidence have you got
What
that
do
they're
you
getting more
think?
violent?
Just because when I'm sat in the park and what have you, they really like cocky. They come up to you now and sort of jump up on the bench and sort of attack you for food. They're not happy with acorns now. They want a bit of croissant. And that's what I'm saying. They've changed. They're changing over time. Just like that grub having a biscuit. Everything's trying different food out.
He'll want a gatto soon.
Well, in the same way that, you know,
eclair.
you look at people around the world, how they're eating weirder stuff. They're running out of, you know, ideas on how to cook food differently. And we're eating weird stuff. So our insects, everything's moving on. Everything's getting more intelligent. The goldfish memories got better. Chickens are more intelligent than people thought they were, apparently. Everything's... Time makes you more intelligent.
Well,
No, they do. That's a fact, isn't it? If you're knocking around longer, then you're learning more because more stuff's going on and you soak it up. And that's what these insects are doing. They're all learning. You know what I mean?
No.
I saw a cockroach playing Pac-Man. It was on the internet, right? And somebody had linked up a cockroach to some. I can't even be bothered explaining it, but that's what I'm saying. Everything's moving on.
yeah, but Pac-Man's like such an old hat game, man. It's like from the 1980s.
Yeah, that
isn't it?
cockroach is
Jeez,
so
come on,
old.
he's got a date.
Get a
with
life,
it.
man.
Hello, PlayStation 3. Is he
Hello.
not over there? Hello.
Yesterday's cockroach.
Oh,
Fucking hell.
what was he listening to? MC Hammer.
Christ almighty. Fucking hell, Pac-Man. Get a life.
High five, Lee. I was in the supermarket recently, just walking past the condoms on the way to the pornography, and I thought, you know, it's worth perhaps, you know, getting a stocking, you know.
You get a stocking?
No, getting some condoms.
What, to put over your head? You're not still doing that, are you?
No, I thought it was worth getting some condoms in, you know, it's Christmas party season, and you never know when you're going to run out of balloons. and I was weird, because the condoms in the supermarket are contained in a kind of cage, in a plastic cage, so it makes it all the more embarrassing buying them, because I took them off the thing and I was trying to open it. Sort of, because I thought that they would. You had to open it.
Try it on.
Exactly.
Just, you know, in case it doesn't fit.
Exactly.
Bring it back.
Yeah.
Bring it back, yeah.
And I was
Do you
trying
do alterations? Yeah, we do, yes. £5.
And so I'm trying to open this thing, and this guy who works there, sort of with his middle-aged guy who works there, goes, you have to take that to the checkout, so you can't open that yourself. And I was just, because I don't know, I still find it very embarrassing dealing in any of that sort of, prophylactics and things, the novelty of that is still very embarrassing to me. And so I just left it. I thought, forget it, I'm not gonna take these to the counter, because you never know. It's like if you get served by a woman, it's still a bit embarrassing, particularly if that's all you're buying. Because she knows what you're up to. You're going to fill them up with water and throw them at students. And anyway, the reason I mention this is because it reminded me of the conversation we've all enjoyed in the past, Rick, about when Karl bought for his girlfriend for Christmas. Was it a
2-pack?
A 2-pack of
what was it?
Condoms.
Wasn't it about buy one get one free?
Yeah.
It was a bumper family pack, wasn't it? Not a family, obviously. That'd be weird.
Yeah, a family pack of condoms. One for the kids. Enjoy yourselves. So that was a couple of years ago, Karl. The famous condom gate. Have you bucked your ideas up since then?
Not really. They were the early days.
Do you mean the early days? You'd been going out with her for about 8 years, hadn't you?
Yeah, but I just think that as time goes on, you don't sort of buy each other as many presents.
Sorry, that was a bumper year, was it? That was a hell of a. She went. Oh, I remember when you used to buy me stuff like condoms. It's gone downhill since then.
Well, no, she didn't
presents.
know she was getting them. What I mean is, there's less.
Of course,
surprises.
she didn't.
That's what I mean, though. It was sort of interesting to when I gave them her and said, "There you go, open them." She was not expecting that. And as time goes on...
No, she was probably expecting a piece of jewellery or a holiday in Paris.
It's more difficult, is what I mean, to surprise someone, innit, over time.
No. But the surprise thing is meant to always be a good surprise.
Yeah, but don't... If you always get something good... It's like the 3 wise men. What did they get the second year for little baby Jesus? Do you know what I mean? Once he's had that gold, it's like... Oh, I've sort of made it hard work for myself there. I've got to get him something better than that now. So it's best to give him the myrrh.
And next year, get him the gold.
Step it up a bit or whatever.
But don't you understand... Because I don't want to criticise you because you're a lovely man, but having read the diary and read much of this diary, one of the things I notice is the complete lack of romanticism. The number of times Susanna says, book us a lovely meal out, take me out tonight, and you always write like it's a massive chore, like it's a headache for you. Oh no, I've got to spend a romantic night out with my girlfriend.
Because it's the same reason I don't like Christmas and stuff, is the expectations. I prefer it. If I want to take Suzanne out, I prefer to meet her at the bus stop, and she comes back from work and go, you want to go out?
But you don't do that.
No, I do now and again, but it's that thing of, oh, we'll go out tonight, I want to leave it to you, book a place, It builds it up too much, and it can never live up to it. It's like how, you know how, like, people make a big thing out of, having it away for the first time, and they go, oh, I'm going to do that tonight. Not the way to do anything. You won't get anything done by planning.
That's a quote! That's an amazing quote! That'll be up there with Newton and Churchill. You don't get anything done by planning.
No, but
that's amazing.
But you can't just spring it on someone. You have to at least ask her, you up for it tonight?
Just see how it goes. That's what I'm saying about Christmas. I might not be in the mood for it on December 25th. For Christmas, having turkey and everything. That's what I mean. About, in the last podcast, stuff coming round every year. Don't plan it. If you fancy a Christmas, have it. If you don't, just carry on. It'd be nice to live in a world like that. They say, it's a world of freedom or something now. It isn't.
No, I don't know what that means.
I don't know who says
you just make up things they say.
They say, like, today's world is a free world or something. Someone said something along them lines when it isn't. Everyone's still being told what to do, when to do it. Christmas is a big thing, isn't it, that we all have to go through. And it's stressful. It's not a happy time.
You're such a miserable sod. You really are.
No, but Christmas is it's a big upheaval. It is out of all of those special days that go on, Christmas is the one that's...
what are you doing with your time? It's the question we return to again and again.
No,
you're visiting your parents, you're hiring a car, you're going down the calf. It's not like you're taking your work away, you're doing some important neuroscience work, and we've had to take you away from that for 3 days.
No, but
you're not doing anything of any value, Karl.
What I might want to do, but I can't because the shops are shut because they want to go off and celebrate Christmas. It's an upheaval. Easter's all right. It comes and goes. Do you want an egg? Not really. Don't have one then. You're not forced an egg.
You're not forced an egg.
I like Easter, and everyone can afford an egg. There's no one being left out. Whereas Christmas, everyone goes back to the family and they have a big meal and all that. And there's a lot of poor people out there who can't do that. So it's more of If you're going to talk about religion and, you know, the religious sort of occasions, Easter's one that I'd keep. If you plan everything, you probably won't do it in the end. Whereas...
Again, that as a soundbite is gobbledygook, isn't it?
No, what I mean is, say like holidays, when you know they're coming, you never enjoy them as much as one when it's surprised on you.
Who surprises someone with a holiday unless you win it on a game show?
How can you really go, bloody hell, I'm on holiday?
Suzanne did it with me. She sorted it all out and booked me time off work without me knowing.
Oh, that's a lovely romantic gift.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
and I went along with it and we had a great little holiday.
Yeah, so maybe you should do something like that for her.
No, she wouldn't like it as much, and I won't pick the right place, and I know she won't like it.
You are one of these people that washes up badly so you'll never be asked again, aren't
No,
you?
that's my job. That's the only job I do.
Yeah, well, it was a...
But to be honest, that's doing me head in at the moment, because I've outgrown the sink.
He talks about himself like a crab. Oh, God. Gotta get a new sink for Karl. Why? He's outgrown it.
No, just
he's 33 now and his knees around his head. Oh, he can't bath in that anymore.
No, just my back's been playing up a bit, and I think it's because of the height of the sink.
But hold on, you haven't grown.
I think I have.
Well, you haven't. No, you haven't grown at 33.
Well, it's definitely something. It's just not very good.
Subsidence?
I don't know. I've just said to Suzanne, I said, this isn't as good as it used to be. It's not.
This isn't as good as it used to be. This washing up.
On the tube on the way back home, saw an advert for a book about a woman who works in a funeral home. She went into work one day. She goes to work on a body. She takes the sheet off of one of the bodies, and it looks exactly like her. This is called a doppelganger.
What's a doppelganger to you?
It's the thing I read about him ages ago, where someone was walking down the street.
Yeah, and he sees someone who looked a bit like him.
And no, this was weirder than that.
Go on.
He remembers, like, going down that street as a kid on his bike, whistling.
Yeah.
And then he's walking down the street, going out to get some milk or whatever from the shop. Little bike comes whizzing past. He hears the whistling, he goes, that's weird. Looks at it, it was him when he was a kid. So it's like a time.
Shit. What do you mean it was him as a kid?
This is like a different form of doppelganger. It's just
Well, it's impossible, it's rubbish.
some sort of time thing, isn't it?
No,
Just time.
that's impossible, so don't
It's
worry
just some
about
kind
it.
of time thing, Rick. No.
Yeah,
just
something
some
you
kind of time
read
thing.
again on the internet, or it was a short story, or something someone told you.
On my walk back from the tube, I saw a jogger who was pushing a pram at the same time. The kid looked terrified. Got my science book out. It said that the static you get on the telly when a channel isn't tuned in properly is radiation that is still knocking about from when the Big Bang happened. I thought about the Big Bang and wondered if it was really a Big Bang, or did it just sound louder as there was no other noise to drown it out.
Good point, though, isn't it?
Karl's diary, Rick, never ceases to amaze. More from that next week.
Oh, well, it's that time now. Yeah? It's the big one.
Oh, chimpanzee that monkey news!
Right, there was this
Monkey?
this fella, right, who he had a problem with his eyes, right?
Yeah.
So he goes to the doctors and he goes, oh, I've got a problem with my eyes, and he goes, yeah, they're bad then, right? He goes, it was in America, you know, like how you have to pay for medical stuff and all that, and the doctor said, oh, if I fix them, it's going to be like 10 grand, right? It's like, but I haven't got the money, doctor. He goes, well, I can't help you then. You know, there's a lot of people with bad eyes like them. Can't do anything for you. So he goes, oh, it's getting worse. I can't do anything. So anyway, so he goes home.
Is that the price of human eyes, is it?
So he goes home, he's looking in the paper, right, and he sort of sees in the adverts at the back, and there's a little advert there saying cheap doctors, right?
No, bollocks.
Oh no.
No.
So he's thinking, oh, maybe that's what I need, right? So he calls them up. Woman's there. She's like, wait, what can I do? He goes, I've got bad eyes and that. She says, oh, come in tomorrow, we'll sort them out. She's like, brilliant, I'll see you then, right? So he goes down there, and he says, right, you know, I can hardly see. My eyes have got in really bad state and what have you.
Right.
Need to have them sorted out. I don't know what you do. Whatever you do,
Right.
I need
Now,
doing.
his eyes are so bad, can he see the doctors? He can...
Not really,
Can't
sort
really-
of
he's
squinting
squinting.
and that, but, you know, so he's like, do I need to see the doctor to, you know, have a word and tell him what problems? She's like, no, don't worry about that.
Don't worry about
Just,
it.
No, I'd be comfortable if it's a...
just you know, just let me inject you, and we'll knock you out, and we'll get on with it. And it's like,
get
well,
the doctor in.
Can I just tell you something about chimps as well, just before you continue?
Go on.
You know, they don't have opposable thumbs.
Now,
which is
why
what-
are opposable thumbs useful, Rick?
Well, to grip something, to do anything like, you know, even simple stuff like writing, so let alone surgery. So without an
But
opposable
can I just check
thumb-
now?
Go on.
So if I was a doctor and I was doing any form of difficult surgery, would I need opposable thumbs?
You'd need opposable thumbs
To be a doctor,
and without
okay.
you couldn't do anything. You could.
Thanks for clearing that up.
Because the opposable thumb allowed something in our evolution called the precision grip.
Right.
So without that, you couldn't do anything.
I'm just glad they've got that cleared up. Thanks.
So anyway, so he's had the injection, he's nodding off and what have you, right? His eyes are sort of closing and that, he hears the door open, he sort of just sees this little fella coming in and he's like, hello doctor, and he's trying to like make a chat with it,
Sure.
but like, he's just nodding off. No, just,
Oh, he's
he or
never
she,
called it
was
doctor.
it he or she?
These people have done 7 years medical
Deeply
training.
respected people.
How could you call it it?
so anyway, he thought, oh, it's weird he didn't answer, but you know, doctors can be quite moody, you know, they're highly intelligent, they don't need
Especially little airy ones.
well, just idle chit-chat, there's no room for that, do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm here
Yeah,
to do a job.
but you know, if I'm going in to have my eyes done, I want a little bit of idle chimp chat.
So anyway, time passes, right? He sort of wakes up and he opens his eyes, right? And it's brilliant. He can't believe it.
Eyes are perfect.
He's had the op. He can't believe the sight. He's like, nurse, right? And the nurse comes in because I can't believe it. This is brilliant. I've never had such good sight. Do you know what I mean? Even when I was a baby,
Yeah.
and my eyes were new,
Yeah.
I didn't see this good.
Great.
So she's like, well, you know, that's
You realise the nurse is a panda.
that's what we do, right? So he said, right, so can I just see the doctor and just say thanks and that? And she's like, well, to be honest, you know, he's specialised in what he does. There's a lot of
What
work.
a load of bollocks this is getting.
Please.
Where did you get this from?
No, come on, let's hear the end of the news.
There's a lot of like operations he's got to do.
Yeah.
So you know, leave him to it. He's just having a kid. You know, I'll let him know that you were grateful. You know, pays the check. Off you go. Go and enjoy looking at stuff.
Yeah.
So he said, no, I just what's wrong with that? I just want to see that. She's
No,
like,
it's
no,
fine.
leave it. Just leave.
Yeah, exactly. Leave it. If
And
he
he's
says
like,
it's
yeah, but I can't. You know, I want to thank him. So he's done such a good thing for me. So they're getting into a bit of an argument and what have you, and the voices are raising, right? Door opens.
Gonna wake the doctor up.
Well, that's what they did. They woke it up, right?
They
so,
will get up.
it.
So the door opens, right? Little monkey comes out,
Oh.
and he's like, "What's going on here? It's hospital. Why is a monkey knocking about?"
Yeah.
So the woman said, "Well, what do you mean? He's the doctor, right?" so he's like, "You are having a laugh, aren't you?" She goes, "Look, don't complain. Your eyes are sorted.
Yeah.
You know, the doctor's done it. What's the problem?" He said, "Well, if I'd have known that, I wouldn't have come here." She said, "Well, what do you mean you didn't know that?" She said, "The advert in the paper you read, it's like chimp doctors."
That is the biggest load of shit I've ever heard. That really is the worst.
What? And
It's
because his eyes were so bad, he thought it said cheap doctors.
He saw the advert and it said chimp doctors, but because his eyes were bad, he just saw it.
What
as,
journal is this in?
it was years ago because it sort of says how the monkey sort of carried on working for a few years. He couldn't do anything
Then
about
just
it. He had to
retired to
leave
play
it.
golf.
It's absolute bollocks.
It's
There's
like-
no way. I mean, it's not even worth talking about.
So-
It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
It's the most ridiculous monkey news you've ever heard, and that's saying something.
Chimp doctors, cheap. It's easy mistake.
Well, that's the end of another podcast. That's week 11. We've got one more to go next week. So go to rickygervais.com, see some of the things we've been talking about, register, so we can let you know what's happening when we're back.
Who hosted this podcast?
It was the great guys at Positive Internet who host the world's #1 podcast, The Ricky Gervais Show, with me, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant,
Bye-bye.
and Karl Pilkington. Hi, Ricky Gervais here, with me, Stephen Merchant.
Hello.
And Karl Pilkington.
All right.
Welcome to the final episode in our series of 12 podcasts. I say final, it's final of 12, but we may be carrying on.
Go on.
Well, next week we're going to try and do another one to continue this for at least a little while. We may have to charge a small fee for it because it'll cost us money, and Karl is unemployed, but we mean a real tiny little fee. But hopefully we'll be back next week. Now, we're not sure where it'll be. It'll probably be on iTunes, but just go to rickygervais.com and we'll guide you there. Hurrah!
Yay!
And thanks for listening for this long and supporting us. I hope you continue to support us. Go on, continue to support us.
Yeah, particularly Carl, who has no money whatsoever and is desperate. He's a desperate man. Is that
I
right,
there's no
Carl?
one out there going, oh, look, they're charging for it now. But, you know, people forget we gave 12 for free.
This is it. So quickly people forget.
We're big shots.
Yeah.
Well, Carl's not, But we are, aren't we?
Exactly. I mean, we were generous, but we're not that generous.
We're not mad. And Carl needs a little bit of money. Look at his little round little head. He's like little tiny Tim over there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Look at him sitting there. Carl, you've had a good week?
It's been all right. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Well,
more of that next week. But you'll have to pay for it now. I'm surprised you're not buzzing because we just had our photograph taken to enter the Guinness Book of Records for the greatest downloaded podcast of all time. We went along to the Guardian and the press were there and they took a little picture of his round head, didn't they?
Yeah, but I don't know why should I be excited about it when it's just.
Haven't you always wanted to be in the Guinness World of Records?
Not really, no.
I've been looking at the they presented us with the this year's, and I've been looking through it, and there's some fascinating ones. I used to get this as a kid.
That's what I'm saying though. There's loads of things in there that I used to go to. Like I looked at it online the other day to see if what's on there. You click on it, the home page that you get when you click on Guinness Book of Records. It's a fellow with the most ear hair, right? It looks amazing. So that, to me, is what the Guinness Book of Records is about.
So you're impressed with the bloke who just happens to have the most ear hair?
No, but it's commitment. He could have shaved it off, but he didn't. He left it.
Yeah,
no, it's less commitment.
But that just grew. We actually bothered to do a podcast.
All right, forget that then. The one with the rings on the neck where they stretch the neck so their head's tall. That's commitment. If that didn't work out, he's stuck with that head, and he didn't even get in the book.
You're stuck with that head, and you have got in the book, so be happy. What if it's a stitch-up? What if you're under roundest head?
I'd be a bit annoyed.
Why?
Just because I don't. I mean, have you got a choice? Say like the fella with, the small man. Say if he's not happy about being small, he's trying to go about his life. He knows people are looking at him, pointing at him, going, "Look at him, he's tiny." But does he want to be in the book?
Oh, I think they've got to give their consent.
Have they?
Because if the smallest wasn't willing to be in there, they'd go, the second smallest man is so-and-so, he was willing to be in here.
Yeah, but the smallest one is Frank, and he didn't want to do it. So again, he's in it without wanting to be in it.
No, but I don't know.
He's got you there, Rick.
I don't know if they do. I don't know if they go around. I think that you'd have to be complicit in it for them to measure your head and say this is the roundest head on the planet Earth. Not, you know what I mean?
But then what do I do with that? That's what I'm saying. Is it something you put on a CV? I don't see the point in it.
Well, I think you are the fellow with the roundest head, and I think a lot of people know that. Because also, I've noticed when people ask for a picture of you, they don't say, "Can I have a signed picture of Carl?" They say, "Can I have a signed picture of Carl's head?" Which is a weird thing to say about a human being, isn't it? They go, look at his head. Look at his head, not look at his face. Or can I have a picture of him? They say, "Can I have a picture of... Have you got a picture of Carl's head?" Why are they allowed to mention that?
And the thing is, like, we're on some sort of broadcasting medium where you don't even see my head, so it's not important.
Well, I can't see your head because the mic's perfectly round and it obliterates it out like an eclipse.
But what I mean is, it doesn't matter, does it? For doing what I do, it doesn't interfere in any shape or form.
But the thing is, Carl, what people are fascinated with, and I've said it before, you've got a head like a fucking orange.
We'll be charging for more information like that from next week. We do, of course, Rick, every week get thousands of emails. I mean, it's crazy. It takes us ages to go through them and read them. And we are going through them, we are reading them. Freddie Gerstrom from Winchester says, of course, it was recently Valentine's Day. What's the most romantic thing that you've done for Suzanne, Carl, that you can think of?
I don't really do all that.
Sure.
Valentine's Day stuff.
It's just... The problem is, if you do it once, they expect it every year.
Yeah.
That's the problem with Christmas and stuff, isn't it? It's like, that's what you do now, every year.
Every day, yeah.
So I prefer to just sort of wait, you know what I mean? And if I think of an idea or I know something that she wants, I might get her something, but I might not do it on Valentine's Day. It's that thing, it's like how I've said about Pancake Tuesday. Make it Pancake Wednesday. Have it when you want. Why am I waiting? Why am I waiting for someone to tell me when I can have a pancake? I'll have it today if I want one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas Pancake Tuesday, no, I won't bother. I'll have trifle. So it's the same with this, with Suzanne. Luckily, right? I mean, Valentine's Day and what have you, she was ill.
Luckily.
So we didn't have to go out. So I'd say, is he asking for advice?
Well, I suppose, yeah, certainly you may as well give it.
Treat them when they deserve it.
All right.
I remember once when Suzanne was ill, she had a fever, but there was no food in the house. What did you suggest to her? She was too ill.
Well, it was when we were still living in Manchester and that, and we needed to get some food in for tea and stuff. And I said, come to the supermarket. She was like, no, I'm ill, you go. And I hate buying food. I just sort of get a bit blank when I'm looking at it. There's too much, isn't there? That's the problem. You go down all these aisles and there's just too much. So anyway, I said, no, come with me. She was like, oh, but I've got this fever, I'm hot and everything. So I said, well, come to the supermarket, you go on the frozen aisle, cool yourself down. And she did, and she said, it made it worse, she was ill for another 3 days, but...
How would you go about chatting up a woman in a bar? What tips could you give?
I've never worked like that. It's always been like a friend of a friend and all that, and just happened to meet them. And then, you have a chat, and then...
How did you meet Suzanne?
That was when I was working with her, and she gave me 20p for the hot chocolate machine. She never asked for it back. Thought she's all right. Been there sort of 11 years, so it works.
Has she ever given you that? You've never given that 20p
never
back?
asked for it back.
And did you return the favour, perhaps on the next date? You buy her a Kit Kat or something?
No, I don't think I did. I think word got out that she liked me and that. And what did I do? I think I did some work for her. I did some editing for her, to sort of show off my skills and that.
Sure.
And she was like, "Oh, you're good at this, aren't you?" I was like, "Yeah." And I think she got us another drink because I was doing that editing for her in my own time.
So you're up on the deal, aren't you? Because I know now, I know for a fact that you've not spent any money on her in 11 years, so you're 40p up.
At least. Lawrence from New York says, I was wondering how Mr. K. Pilkington would interpret this famous saying of philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein. The quote is, if a lion could talk, we could not understand him.
Even if he's English?
Yeah, if a lion could speak English, so there's no language barrier, he's speaking English words and using all the correct grammar and everything, but you wouldn't be able to understand what he was saying.
Why?
Because it is from a different world. His frames of reference would be so bizarre that you wouldn't be able to get a grasp on what he was talking about, because you'd have so little in common, even if he used real words.
No, but he's talking English.
Yeah, no, but his reference points would be just so far removed. You know, they're removed slightly when, if you saw two people talking about Kierkegaard, you'd
I
hear...
wouldn't understand it.
Exactly. So remove that 1 billion times to a different species with different input.
No, but it depends. If I'm talking to a lion in London Zoo,
Yeah.
he'll be saying, "Oh, I'm fed up of being stuck in here." I'll go, "Yeah." It's like that. It depends what his background is. I mean, there's some people who might have lived down the road from me, but have a totally different life.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't matter that it's a lion, does it?
Well, yeah, because they're just trying to remove it even more. So now it's not just a bloke who lived a few doors away. Now it's not even a bloke. Now it's not even...
Yeah, but I'd pick something smaller,
Right.
or something, a worm without a mouth. I'd go, definitely not.
What? Definitely not what?
I wouldn't be having a chat with it. I just think that a worm that's on the ground,
Yeah.
what's it got to offer me? It's blind and it hasn't got a mouth. It's not going to be a good day out with it, is what I'm saying. It's not going to have that much to say to me, even if it's English. Right?
Even if it's
And how can you tell if a worm is English? Does it wear a very tiny bowler hat?
Oh, Christ.
But do you understand?
What about a jellyfish?
No, you see, I think that's where you can say you wouldn't be able to have a good chat with them, because to me, the sea might as well be another world,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
In a way, I think the fish sort of have more rights than us,
What do you mean?
just because when whoever made the world, right?
Yeah.
Say, we were just bigging up God, but if I
Yeah.
was to have a go at him,
Yeah.
I'd say you added too much water,
Criticism 1 to God, right?
right? So
How would you have changed that? Just
more land.
Fair enough. Now, why have fish got more rights than us? That was what I was interested in.
Because there's loads of them, and when you look at the amount of sea on the world, right? There's loads of that. You only have to like I was in Malaga the other week, right? And you look in the sea, there's loads of different fish, and that's just in like 8-foot water. If you go miles out, there's like all sorts of weird fish, isn't there, with like lights on them and everything. So, and there's just millions of different types.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
But why does that mean they've got more rights than us?
just because I think, rights come in numbers, don't they? if you know what I mean. Like, if there's one of you shouting, people go, oh, he's an idiot, shut up, whatever. If there's loads of you shouting, they go, oh, best listen to them, see what they've got to say.
Right.
And that's what I mean about fish.
Yeah.
There's loads of fish,
Right.
so...
But they're not really making their voices heard, though, are they, Carl?
Yeah.
I know, because they're underwater. But what I mean is, I don't know what I mean.
Carl, right? What do you think it's like being a crab? If you could go now, your mind into a crab, what would you see? Where would you be? What would you be doing? What would you be thinking? What would you think of all the other things? The crabs you'd see, the squids you'd see. What's it like? Do you think? I want you to. It's like creative writing. Just think. Just let yourself go. Come on.
It's got to be a crab.
What do you think of a slug? What do you think to be a slug? What would you do if you were transported now into a slug? What would you do? And Suzanne, you're suddenly in the kitchen, but you're a slug, and Suzanne's sort of like there, just making tea and that. How do you let her know it's you?
It's impossible. I'd just chuck myself into the salt pot or something. No, because what do you do? I'd hate that. That would be horrible, that.
Oh, God.
Have you ever read Franz Kafka's Metamorphosis? In which a man wakes up and he's turned into a giant beetle? And that's the whole story. I think it might be of interest to you.
So what happened to him with the beetle?
Well, I don't want to ruin it for you in case you read it.
I won't
but
be reading it, don't worry.
He joined a pop group with 3 other people. He was brilliant.
No, it's a really wonderful book. It's a kind of almost heartbreaking because, of course, he does, like Ricky's saying, he finds it very hard then to relate to other people, even though he still has the consciousness of a human. You know, his parents, the rest of his family, they don't know how to deal with him, you know, because he's a giant beetle. He becomes a freak, he becomes an outsider. It's terrible, you know.
But hang on, though. Is he a giant beetle? Or
Yeah.
is he... Well, yeah, that's not going to go down well, is it? That, of course, people aren't going to like you. But if it's a normal-sized one, then you just get in with the other beetles, don't you? Whereas if you're a giant...
How would you do that? How would you ingratiate yourself? Right, so you're suddenly a beetle. You're Karl Pilkington, right? There's other people. They're doing their business. They're scuttling around. And you go in there, and they look at you as a new beetle. What's your first... What do you do? How do you ingratiate yourself?
Well, for a bit, I wouldn't sort of barge into their house and that. I'd wait until they're out and about, and I'd like in life, right? Sort of help them out. I don't know what beetles do all day. I've never seen one doing anything. They just seem to be going from one place to another.
Right.
I've never seen them carrying anything. I don't know what they eat. I don't know what they do. I don't know how we've got them, right? But what I mean is, I'd watch them and I'd sort of help them out. And I mean, you know, it's like going on a date or meeting a woman, isn't it?
But what if there is?
Whoa, hang on, what do you mean? How is it like going on a date with a woman?
Well, it's like I said about Suzanne with her hot chocolate. She bought me that, and I've gone, she's all right. Right. She gets me another one. Before I know it, she's living with me. So it's
So you're all these beetles. They're scrubbing around, right? You're sort of like watching them, and then you realise that you want to mate with this female beetle. What do you do? What's your first move?
Yeah, but I don't know what beetles do I? So I don't know what you do. I don't know if you go up and go, all right. What did they do? How did they get on?
Well,
It's a different world. I don't know yet, do I? Because I haven't done it.
would you feel bad because having your own mind in this beetle, right? Would you feel bad shagging a beetle? Would you feel that was a bit sick because you've got a human mind?
Well, no, because you just close your eyes and that, wouldn't you? And go, pretend to think of something else. So get round it that way. There's no point getting down about it because I'm stuck now as a beetle. So you've got to get on with it.
But if you're a slug, you said you'd throw yourself in the salt pot. What would you do if you're a beetle if you got depressed? And you see all the other humans.
No,
you see your mates, right? They're listening to the iPod. What would you do?
But no, that's what I'm saying. No, beetles are different because they do tend to hang about with each other. A slug's always on its own. It's a lonely insect, isn't it?
It's not an insect.
All right, what is it?
A mollusk.
Right, they're lonely. I've never seen a load of snails all together or slugs wandering about, whereas beetles seem to knock about in crowds.
Yeah.
So, oh God. Okay, right, another one.
So they're sociable creatures, and it wouldn't bother you that you've got the mind of Karl Pilkington in there? Because you can't communicate with these people, because they don't speak English, they don't have any communication with you.
Yeah, but if it's happened to me, there'll be another one in there.
Okay then. Right. Okay. What would you do? Right. That's the most disgusting thing. What could it be? Well, what would you do? Right. If you were suddenly a fly, right, and you were knocking around with the flies, right? And you had to land on some
Excrement?
yeah. What would you do?
Yeah, but I don't have to.
What do you mean? You're a fly. You're
Yeah, but I
loving it.
wouldn't. No, I wouldn't be loving it, though, would I?
Why?
Because I'm me in that fly's head. So I don't think other flies would be going, come on, join in. I'd just be like, no, I'll wait here, wait, watch and that. Because I don't see why they have to do that.
What would you do, right, if you had to go back and you were in a, had to go put your mind in like the, an unhatched egg of something, like maybe one of those, that a wasp was injected in a spider. So you know you're in an egg, right, which is really uncomfortable, in a spider. How would you feel about that, Carl? You're a baby wasp in the abdomen of a spider.
And I know everything that I know now. I'm sat in there.
Yeah. And now I'm in a spider as an unborn wasp. What the fuck am I doing here? What's going on?
I don't know what I'll do there. Probably try and sleep. There's nothing else to do, though, is there?
I just pray to God it never happens.
I don't believe it. He's written it down.
Well, that's the jingle that signals it's time for more extracts from Karl's diary, and we'll lunge straight into it. Wandered down Carnaby Street. There was a happy homeless fella. I gave him £1.50. I thought of a tongue twister after giving him the money. It goes, if you can't treat a cheerful tramp, what sort of tramp can you treat?
It's good, that.
All
Say
right.
it fast.
If you can't treat a cheerful tramp, what sort of tramp can you treat?
Good, isn't it?
Good, that, yeah. You've got too much time on your hands, Carl.
Learned some famous quotes to see if they are as good as my sayings. Number 1, treat every day as if it's your last. Very famous saying. Now, is that something you do, Karl?
But you know, my problem with that one is that if it was your last, you wouldn't want to be doing much. That's the only problem I've got with that. I wouldn't want to, go to a fairground or whatever, because you're going, oh, it's my last day, what am I going to do? And I think you'd spend so much time worrying about what you're going to do that you'd end up staying in.
I think you're right. You've taken some of the poetry out of it. I think it means live life to the fullest, right?
I like the fact that you were musing on the idea that if it was your last day, you'd go to the fair. It's getting such a 19th century way of spending your final day.
I know, yeah. Well, the thing is, the other thing is that the only thing that people get depressed about in terms of sort of like life and death is not the knowledge that they're gonna die, but more the knowledge that they know they're going to die when they're dying. If someone told you no one ever knows when they're going to die, no one ever gets an illness, no one ever gets hit by a truck, everyone passes away peacefully in their sleep, dreaming they're riding a big marshmallow, right? Then you wouldn't care about anything. It wouldn't matter when. It wouldn't matter if you died tomorrow or in 30 years' time. You'd just live life to the full. You'd have it. Every day would be great. You'd go out, you'd come back, you'd fall asleep. That would be amazing. There'd be no stress. There'd be no angsty, we're all going to die stress, because it wouldn't matter, because it would just be your life. Wouldn't it be amazing if someone guaranteed you, Carl, you're going to die in your sleep? I'm not going to tell you when.
Yeah, but some people do, don't they?
Well, exactly.
Yeah,
but we never
want
know
that.
we're going to, because we stress. What if we get a dreadful illness? What if we,
But we're almost not letting people die naturally anymore, are we? Because we're always bodging stuff up.
What do you mean?
Well, someone who might naturally die in the sleep aren't allowed to naturally die in the sleep because they wake them up with those electric things and get them going again and pop in a new lung or whatever whilst they're at it. That's what I'm saying. They don't just... You never hear it anymore, do you? Frank peacefully died in his sleep. No, he died on the operating table whilst we were putting in a new lung. They don't die naturally anymore.
Frank died peacefully with 40,000 volts going through them and a couple of people going, clear! Clear!
Rushing about today. Got to get a lot done as I'm flying to Malaga tomorrow to see my mum and dad. Don't like flying. I'd be happy if they give you a parachute instead of a life jacket. They say Da Vinci invented the parachute as well as the helicopter. He never got round to making them, though, because he only drew them on some paper. Got up at 5 AM as I had to get to Heathrow to get on the plane to see mum and dad in Malaga. Went out for a drink with a cousin who lives in Spain. Ain't seen her for 27 years. Oh, that must have been tricky, making conversation.
I didn't really bother. Because where do you start? I might as well go up to anyone in the street and start having a chat.
Yeah, you have to go further back than, did you want Chantal to win Big Brother?
Yeah. Me dad and me talked about history. I said we shouldn't go on about things that happened ages ago because I bet something similar has happened more recently.
Brilliant.
Read about an island in the Indian Ocean where there are tribesmen still living like they're cavemen. A helicopter tried to land and the tribesmen chucked spears at them. This is what I meant about not having to talk about things that happened ages ago. We have got new cavemen now, so why do we talk about the old ones? People could have lived before, but computers and all that blew up and books got burnt, so all they had left was what these tribesmen have got left.
Ramblings
And that's the ramblings
madman.
of a maniac.
That
I mean,
is
that's just a few hours before you go crazy with a gun in there.
No, but what I mean there is, right, say if all this has happened before, right, podcasting's been happening years ago, something happens.
Again, a lot of information from the Planet of the Apes.
Something happens, world ends, right, we come back again somehow.
Yeah. It's the detail you leave out that makes you intriguing. Just like the watch that you can wear that tells you when you're going to die. How does it work? Pop it on your wrist. That's all the detail you need. So the world happened, we came back, yeah.
Have you seen the pictures? Forget it then if you don't get it.
It's interesting that you had all those profound thoughts about this period in the past when they all lived, but you still found it appropriate to include at the end of that. It says that tribesmen wave their knobs about when they've had enough of having visitors.
That's what it said in the paper. That's what happens. They're quite happy.
What paper is this that you're reading?
It was in like a paper a couple of days ago. It said they don't mind having visitors if they're bringing them coconuts and stuff that they can eat. Once they've got everything they need, you start waving the tackle about, and that means like, right, leave now, which you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah, at a dinner party.
My grandfather used to do
that. Well now, what have we here? I'm here to tell you all about Friday night comedy on Channel 4. There's 3 great comedies. Green Wing, It's Nearly Ready, My Name is Earl, and The It Crowd. The great new comedy from the creator of Father Ted. And what have we here? Jingle, jangle, jingle, jangle as it happens. Friday night comedy, this Friday on Channel 4. Switch it on. Now then, well now, the young man. Well now then, well now then, young man.
Oh, did fancy that monkey news, you...
That jingle is getting more annoyed by the week.
Well, this is the final monkey news, right? I'm not doing this anymore, right? Because we've covered it all.
All the monkey news has been covered?
It has. It has. We've done loads of them. I think all the news that needs to be sort of known has been told, right?
That is the end of the news. Jesus Christ.
What?
Get on with it.
Right, do you know, in the first podcast that we did, we chatted about the monkey that went into space and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So where we left
So haven't you got a new monkey news?
Well, it's an update, isn't it? I mean,
is it new? Has it happened recently? Has it happened since podcast 1?
I have to pick Ricky up on the point that he thinks any of the monkey news we've heard, A, happened, and B, happened recently. It almost always happened in olden times, or ages ago.
Oh, you're right. It never happened.
Yeah.
Right, anyway. So, like I say, the first monkey news, it was about this monkey that went into space.
This was the one that was fed by bananas that came out of a little chute on the spacecraft.
Yeah, it went up there, did a really good job. It was taught how to press the buttons, hit the left button for a banana, you know.
Right button to
go right.
Make history and go to
right
space.
Right.
What do I want? Not more banana. You haven't taken off yet? More banana. Oh, we shouldn't have given him a choice of banana or a change history. We should have the right button. We should have fed him before he went and only had a right button. He's at the left button again. He's just eating bananas up there. What's going on?
It's costing us a fortune!
Dave, little fucker. Press the right button and do something. Oh, bananas. He hit the left button again, the little fucker.
So anyway, yeah, I told you, he went up there. He came back. He could never get that
the high exactly,
again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He tried other things. I think he tried to get a band together and that. Right. Yeah. So anyway, there was loads of monkeys that were signed up to this NASA program, and it was 1961 when this little monkey called Ham, that was his name. So a bit of an update. That's the same one as I talked about. His name was Ham. As well as him, there was one called Enos. He went around the world loads of times. So anyway, what I found out about it since then, Ham went up there, did the left-right business with the bananas. Enos they didn't put as much work into the trip when he went up there, and something went wrong with the machinery. And do you know how you get a banana for the left button and all that?
It's official now. There's 2 buttons in this spaceship. Banana dispenser and everything else. The right button is everything else.
But it worked the other way. The machinery went weird.
Oh no, really?
So it meant that the right button would give him a banana.
Right.
The left button did everything else.
Oh no.
How did
So
that, how
what?
did
So
that
what had
happen,
been
though?
taught?
What?
This is the problem with electronics, isn't it?
Well, no, I don't think
No,
that's-
this,
I don't
apparently
think
this is the problem.
But the good, I mean, honestly, look it up if you want. This is all online, by the
So
way.
what happened when it all went haywire? What occurred?
Look, Carl, this is online and it's bollocks.
Luckily, Enos, because he'd done a few trips,
Right, he
so
was
he was like,
experienced.
well, I know this isn't right. As much as I love bananas, this isn't right.
That was his thinking. Of course it was.
So anyway, so he came back. They were all like over the moon with him.
He
you
said,
know,
"I
going,
can't work with these conditions."
good mission and everything. Well done on working it out. He sorted all that out. It moved on a few years. Armstrong's gone up there. Buzz and that other fella, they've been up there. The monkeys aren't needed anymore. But they were like, we've got all these monkeys who have done NASA training. What are we going to do with them all? And they had to raise £14 million to make them like an old sort of chimps home for retired
Retired NASA-trained monkeys.
Chimpanauts.
Something they've got in there is like a little museum, right, of all the missions and that they've been on, so they can sort of, even though they're not going to be going into space again, they can almost relive it and reminisce of the times that they've had. And
They're reminiscing with each other, are they?
just sort of going,
chatting
oh,
about the
remember
old
that time when it all went wrong, the button became the left when it should have been the right and all the rest of
Yeah.
it. They just, you know, sort
Talking
of
about old times,
talking
yeah.
about old times and what have you, like old people like to do.
Sure.
And yeah, that's it. So if you want to like give some money towards their home, you can go to like savethechimps.org, and it's all there. All that information that I've given you, it's all there. You can. sort
I'd
of
be
help 'em out.
surprised if all the information you've given us is there.
It's all there.
I'd be very surprised.
It's all there. Just retired, you know, monkeys and that who have done the bit.
Perhaps we should retire Monkey News to that same place.
That's what I mean. So, you know, I hope you've enjoyed the monkey news and that. That was the last one. Look after the monkeys. Do your bit, because they've done their bit. That's it, yeah. But just because I'm not giving the news, look it up. Do you know what I mean? It's all out there. Don't be ignorant.
Wise words.
Carl needs your money. If you could see what I see now, he's just looking at me with this. He just needs stuff, don't you, Carl? What do you need? What do you need?
Just something more than nothing.
For information on the archive of the podcasts, these last 12 shows, and for the new podcasts to come, go to rickygervais.com. You can register there. We'll send out loads of information. Plus, you'll just find out links to how to get all this stuff that we're offering out there. There's also a free taster if you just can't wait for more of Carl's nonsense. Make sure, please, that you register your email and everything so we can get in touch and just tell you what's going to happen with the Ricky Gervais Show, with Carl's Mind, and with everything else. rickygervais.com. Go there. Makes perfect sense.
It's the end of an era, but the start of a new one. It's almost seamless in a way, isn't it? The end and the beginning. But Carl, what do you think about that? How things end and new things begin?
Well, I suppose you've got to have an end for a beginning, so it's just a bit odd that we've got an end and having a beginning. But that's science for you.
Hello, and welcome back to the first in the third series of the Ricky Gervais Show, with me, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant,
Hello there.
and the fool, the round-headed buffoon that is Karl Pilkington.
Alright.
We've been away filming our second series of extras, leaving Karl to his own devices in a sweltering London. We've had a heat wave here in the capital city, haven't we, Karl?
It's been alright.
It's been up to 100 degrees, record-breaking temperatures.
Yeah.
What have you been doing, though?
Sort of enjoyed it a little bit. Was out and about.
Yeah?
Getting to see the place, having loads of walks and that. I like to have walks. You know, watching what
Like a
people are
dog.
doing.
Yeah! When he jumps off the couch and starts
Exactly.
scratching against the door.
Suzanne thinks it's time.
It's just good thinking time, though, isn't it? As well, having a walk. You've got no other clutter going on around you. And you just think about a lot of stuff. And, you know, like you say, with the weather being hot and stuff, a lot of insects knocking about.
Right.
So I've just been watching them.
So while we've been filming a TV show, you've been watching insects.
Yeah, just seeing, because everybody knows insects are out there, but no one's keeping an eye on them.
What are they up to? What are you worried about?
Loads of Steve, you won't be laughing like that if you'd watch them, because they do some weird stuff and that. Is what I mean.
What sort of stuff? Any examples?
I saw a bee have a heart attack.
You saw a bee have a heart attack.
Yeah.
How were you sure it was a heart attack?
Because what happened? I'd been.
Did it clutch its chest with all 6 legs?
No,
Were there some other little bee paramedics?
No, I'd just been out in the park anyway, just looking at caterpillars knocking about, butterflies and stuff. So I was sort of aware.
So when Suzanne goes to work, she goes, Carl, don't you waste the day. Just because you don't work at the radio station anymore, I want you to do some constructive stuff. And you go, yeah, I am, yeah. And so in your head suddenly goes... and he goes out, oh, there's a moth.
But the thing is, so I'd been in the park and I was aware of the insects that are around us more than like most of the time. And I come out of the park, just crossing like sort of a busy road and what have you, and I saw this bee to the right of me, sort of in the air, and it was a big one, and I was a bit like, oh, let's watch that. And it just fell. It fell from the air in front of me, and it was on the pavement. And I thought, oh, what's going on here? And I looked at it for a bit, and it was really still. Gave it a little kick, just to see if there was any movement. Nothing. Stone sort of, what's the saying? Stone cold dead.
Yeah! Stone cold bee dead.
So,
yeah.
that
I like
was...
the fact that this bee suddenly saw Carl and had a heart attack.
Yeah.
It'd never seen anything that round before.
Yeah.
It just thought, it had approached him because he thought it was a sunflower.
My God, it's a giant walking orange. Every dream has come true.
No, but it just summed up life for me. I thought that's like us, isn't it? At the end of the day, they have heart attacks, stress.
You put it down to stress, do you?
Well, it's in London, isn't it? You know, everything has stresses from living here.
And they are bald, aren't they? They've got fur all over, but they lose the...
And always overweight.
It was a fat, bald bee. Oh.
So what did you... It fell to the floor and you instantly... You just kicked it. You didn't attempt
No,
to
I waited
revive
a second
it.
and just looked at it to see if there was any, leg movement or wing. And there was nothing. And then when I sort of kicked it, it was sort of hard. It had hardened already. It's just...
Rigor mortis had
set in.
Did it put you in a bad mood for the day? Because I know things like that can just send you over the edge for the day.
Death and that does a bit. Suzanne doesn't like me talking about death.
What riveting conversations do you come up with?
No, just things like one of our mates has had a baby recently, and I just was saying, oh, when that's sort of our age, we'll nearly be dead.
Think of that.
That's the first thing he says, is a new life brought into the world.
I know.
Well, when he's our age, we'll be dead.
Yeah.
No, it's
Maybe
weird.
they'll let you do the speech at the christening.
Yeah, it's just, so like I say, just insect life and that, it's interesting.
You say it's interesting, but do you care about really finding out about them? Do you really care about what bees do or ants do? You look at them and you make up your own world. For example, it had a heart attack, it's stress, it's overweight. You know nothing. I could probably... Why don't you look something up? Honeybees are fascinating. Honeybees, they've been around making honey for 100 million years. It's incredible. Their wings beat over 11,000 times a minute.
And he's thinking, no wonder it had a heart attack.
Yeah, exactly. But they're do you know bees, like ants, are actually like specialised wasps. They're sort of developed from the same
Family.
Family,
like.
Well, yeah.
It doesn't surprise me.
Doesn't surprise you, though. Does it interest you in any way?
Well, everything's linked to something, isn't it? It's like how they say away from monkeys and that.
Yeah.
It's all the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I've been watching loads of stuff. I've been watching ants. You mentioned ants. I've had a lot of moths in the house. They're sort of sad.
I mean, you say it like it was a garden party.
No,
Yeah.
it's just all these things. You look at them. I mean, you go into the scientific bit saying, it likes honey or whatever.
It doesn't like honey. The reason they store honey is to get them through the winter when there's not like nectar, or nectar's hard to get, and they store it. And they store too much, which is why we can skim a little bit off the top. We're like agents.
Yeah, well, but all I'm saying is I look at more about what its life is like as opposed
Well, no, you
to...
don't. You don't. You guess. You make it up. You don't look into it at all.
No, but you can. A bit of guesswork is you're pretty close to the truth most of the time.
Why? What do you mean? Well, that statement sums you up. A bit of guesswork is pretty close to truth.
Because if you watch something long enough, is what I'm saying, you can see that it's a bit clueless. It's the same way about ants, or, you know, they're hard workers and all that. I watch one, it's going back and forth all the time. They go one way and then they stop and go the other way. They try to look busy in front of the mates. But if you watch one long enough, it's back and forwards, and it's like it's done nothing there.
I'm going to carry this twig back and forth until I can knock off at 4.
There's a lot of that going on.
Is there?
Because there's not. There's none of that going on.
There is. There's no, like I say, the moth, depressing little sort of thing.
Why is it depressing?
Just the way it hasn't got eyes, has it? You just look at it, it doesn't know what's going on. I just don't. I think if you haven't got eyes, you shouldn't have wings.
That's a rule. If we could put that into practice, please.
That's a great rule. That's a fantastic rule, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you haven't got eyes, you shouldn't have wings.
It's certainly true of people thinking of becoming an air pilot.
You know, whilst you've been working on that, I've been travelling about a bit, just seeing the country and that. Went to Dorset, right? Nice beach there. And you know those huts you get? Like a hut on the beach, and
where you get changed.
You can get changed in it, but they're better than that. It's like you can put a telly in it, sofa if you want.
Oh, you don't mean the Victorian changing huts?
Yeah,
you mean
those
like
sort of things. It's sort of bigger than that.
Yeah.
And we were walking down there, and there was a really sort of big fat family in one of them. There was about 4 of them, and you could tell that they've never had a game of anything. Do you know what I mean? They just sit down there, eating ice creams, looking at the sea, and what have you. And the weird thing is, the little fat kid, the youngest one, who must have been, I don't know, about 8, he was really fat, to the point of you couldn't see his neck.
Yeah.
And he sat at the front of his mum and dad and his older sister. He sat there, and he had a frisbee, and I thought, look, they don't want to play with him. I mean, that's an active game to play, isn't it?
Yeah.
Frisbee. As we got closer, he was just using it to eat Maltesers out of. I just thought, even, again, you know, the one active thing he's got, he's using it to eat out of.
Yeah. Extraordinary.
And that just sums up what people are like now when it comes to keeping fit and activities.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Were you sporty, Rick?
I was, yeah. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Were you good at it?
I was good at some things. Was never good at rugby. Never good at cricket. Was all right at football. But those things were the more competitive things that were scary. So at my school, when you're surrounded by, like, people the fun is hurting someone.
Well, it's weird you say it, because I remember the first day I went to play cricket, my mum said, as I was leaving, I was really excited about playing cricket, she went, be careful. I was walking across a playing field once, a cricket ball hit me on the head, I was unconscious for 2 hours. Freaked me out. On the way to play cricket, I thought, okay, always scared of the ball, because it's obviously, as you say, rock solid. I remember a couple of seasons later, I had to play rugby for the first time. As I was leaving the house, she went, be careful with rugby. I knew a kid once broke his back playing it.
I was terrified of rugby.
I mean,
I was terrified
scared.
of it.
Such a scary game.
The ball came to me, I got rid of it immediately.
It's mental.
Yeah.
I don't understand. What I remember is, I remember a teacher saying you've got to play it very carefully because you can get seriously injured, you can hurt yourself, you can be crippled for life. I remember thinking, why are we allowed to still play this game at school?
I was worried about cracking heads.
Yeah.
And a finger in the eye.
How is it not bad?
That worried me all the time, a finger in the eye.
But they removed the asbestos from schools in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
But rugby, it's allowed to play. It's mental.
Yeah.
See, I had a mate called Mark who liked playing cricket, right? And when I used to say to my mum, oh, I just want to go out with Mark and his dad to play cricket, and she never used to let me go. She'd go, oh, prefer, you didn't. And I used to always think that, it's because it's a dangerous sport. You can get hit on the head by the ball and it's hard. Put an eye out or whatever. But it was because his dad used to drive us to the place to play cricket, and he had, his eyelids were too big. So he used to have to sort of have his head right back.
like one of those old-fashioned dolls.
Right. They clunk back and clunk forward again.
And she didn't like me getting in a car with him.
Sorry, what is this? Whose eyelids are too big? Growing up, you had a woman who had her head like a bag of spuds.
I didn't know her.
No, you had 2 kids at school with webbed hands and feet and big heads. Yeah. You had a pigeon chest boy.
Nowadays, you're walking around with insects and moths like something from James and the Giant Peach.
Yeah. And you had a bloke whose eyelids were too big.
One thing I've noticed, because I occasionally go to the gym, And you know those guys who work out constantly to give themselves extraordinary physiques? Just they're on the trip, they're on the weights, and they're really. I notice in the summer particularly, those guys cannot wait to get their shirts off.
Yeah.
Everywhere you see, they're walking around. If they've got a good torso, they are walking shirts off. Even I think if you go to nightclubs, I notice there's always one guy who's thinking, well, I have put so much work into this body, I have got to get my shirt off on the dance floor.
A vest, yeah.
And it comes straight off.
A brand new tattoo. I'm not covering that up.
Exactly.
I've paid a lot for it. Let's see it.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's what we were saying about bodies. I can't remember why we were talking about it. We've got to a point in science now that you can change your head. Right?
No, well, that doesn't make any sense at all.
It was a program, and it was done in the 50s or 60s where they stuck a monkey's brain on a stick and had it wired up, and it still worked, right?
Right, okay.
And that was in like the 60s or
Right,
whatever.
okay. Well,
So-
to say to change your head makes no sense at all. Because if you put a different head on a different body, you're changing the body.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what I'm about to say to you, though.
What?
That's what I'm saying. That I'd be more confident if I had someone else's body, because if anyone dissed it, I can go, no, it's bad, innit? But it's
What
not
are you
mine.
talking about?
Well, it's like, say,
As opposed to someone else's head?
yeah. Well,
Well,
it
you'd
wouldn't be
rather-
me, would it? The head is me.
Well, of course it is. That's what I mean.
yeah,
So
the
what do you
head's
mean?
me.
You'd be happier having someone else's body? What, than your own?
What I mean is, say if you're wandering about, for some reason, there's an incident. You have to take your top off and that, and everyone's looking at you, right? And you're a bit sort of, you haven't got the muscles and that, you haven't got the six-pack,
Right.
which isn't that nice anyway. I don't know why that's become a nice thing, really, seeing the insides of you. You might as well. I mean, I know I came up with the see-through skin idea, but it's a bit weird, isn't it? You can see stuff.
No, it's the muscle in front of the...
No, it's not. Sometimes
it is.
you can
It's
see.
not the,
It's not the
tubes.
outline of your
No, you
organs.
can't see tubes.
You can see tubes and veins and stuff.
Well, you can see veins.
Yeah, well, I don't want to see that. That's why we've got skin over it. Is
Well,
what
stop
I mean.
looking at naked men then.
Why-
No,
you
but
keep-
sometimes you can't help it because it's been hot, and like you say, there's people walking about with vests on and that. So anyway, what I'm saying is, say if some incident happened, I'm walking about with my top off.
Right.
Girls are laughing at me, right?
Why?
Dunno, they might.
Yeah, go on. So they wouldn't look at your body, they'd all look at your head.
So what I mean is,
Yeah.
rewind that, right, and imagine all that happens again, but I've got someone else's body.
Right.
Whose body?
Just some fella who's died, and my body was injured, and they said, we've got a new body in. You can
Right.
have it. We'll
Yeah.
stick your head on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, say if
They're laughing at you.
they are
laughing at the
laughing,
body,
they're laughing
yeah.
at the body,
Yeah.
but at least I'd be able to sort of go, I know it's a mess, but it's not mine. At least I don't have to claim ownership.
So all of this extraordinary technology that can make put one head on another person's body is so you can go, it's not my body.
No.
But
it's not your own.
I'm not being funny though. So if you have a body transplant, right, and you're there, you're at home, naked, you look down,
Yeah.
lovely penis and a set of testicles,
Yeah.
right? What do you do with them?
What do you mean? What am I doing with them?
Well, do you like them?
Well, you wouldn't mess about with them as much as if they were your own.
But if you did mess about with them, would you feel guilty that you were messing about with another man's testicles and penis?
And it's the full body.
Yeah.
No, because they're not my hands either.
You're a genius! You're a fucking genius! So what you're doing is watching someone else wank.
Yeah.
Well, one thing Karl has been doing over the past few months is writing his diary. He's kept that up. I don't know what he's had to write about. All he's been doing is looking at moths and ants and bees and going for walks. But I'm sure it's all in the diary. So let's have a look at that. Oh, I don't believe he's only going to write it down.
We went to the park and had a brew. Suzanne read the paper while I played with a ladybird. I mean, it's like a child, isn't it? It's like what a child would do.
Suzanne read the paper while I played with a ladybird. His only friend is a beetle.
It climbed up my arm. It struggled on me hairs.
This is in detail then.
Yeah. It kept stopping every now and then and was rubbing its head with its right arm. It did it about 4 times and always used its right arm. It rested for about 5 minutes, then flew off. Sunday. Had a bit of a to-do with Suzanne because she wanted a lion today. I ate this. Once you're awake, you should get up. I got up and put the radio on really loud. She eventually got up. I told her insects don't have lions, so we shouldn't.
Why are you obsessed with insects?
You must be fucking unbearable to live with. You must be a nightmare.
No, I've just started, because I've watched insects a lot. I don't want to keep going on about them because we're a bit insect heavy. But at the end of the day, if we copied insects, we wouldn't go far wrong.
I don't know what you mean, though. 1 minute you're saying they're great, then the next minute you'll slag them off.
Yeah, I'll slag some of them off if I don't know what they're doing, but because I've studied them a bit longer, I just think they do it
You haven't
right.
studied them, though.
He thinks he's like Darwin.
But you just slagged them off again. Don't you think people that insects are doing stuff? They're not. It
Yeah,
goes there,
ants.
then it goes back again.
The ant was messing about, but only that one. The others were carrying stuff. That's what I'm saying. There's snidey ones in everything. In everything in the world, you get a hierarchy.
Oh, long words!
Ooh. The bookshelf was dusty, so Suzanne asked me to dust it if I get a minute. I ended up looking at every book.
Just the spine.
Yeah.
Just for a few seconds each. Yeah. Didn't open them.
I looked in the dictionary to see if the word dictionary would be in the dictionary. I didn't think they would bother with it being on the front page, but it was in the book.